Is that not the goal of life? Yes, Prabhupada said, that is incomplete love, Prabhupada said. And Prabhupada just sat and kept quiet. The man was wondering, why do you call it incomplete love? If everybody loves all human beings, that should be considered complete. Prabhupada said, you may say you love all human beings, but you eat a cow. What does that mean? Where is your love? But if you become Krishna conscious, Prabhupada said, you will not harm even an ant. You are walking on the road, you will not put your foot on an ant also, because you know that in that ant's body, who is residing?
Krishna.
Krishna is residing a super soul, but the soul is also residing, isn't it? So the soul is residing. Imagine, for example, somebody is going in a 24-wheel big truck. What do you call that truck? You know that long truck? He's going in a big truck. And in front of him a small, a boy is going in a Luna. So imagine the truck wala says to Luna wala, hey Luna wala, look at you, how small you are, how big I am, let me hit you. Can he hit like that?
No.
He won't hit because he knows in the Luna is sitting a driver who is similar to me, who is a driver in this big truck. Both drivers are one in quality. They both are like humans, correct now? Truck may be big, Luna may be small. Similarly, elephant's body may be big, ant's body may be small, but elephant cannot crush an ant. Correct now? One should know that we can't, every soul is similar in nature. So this kind of, what is it, Pandita? Samadarshana. Pandita Samadarshana. So when you come to this, like that Mata said, connection, the word she said, when you know connection with other living entities, Krishna says, Sarvayonishu kaunteya murtayastam bhavantiyaha tasam brahma mahat yonir aham bija pradaha pita. Krishna says in 14.4 Bhagavad Gita that in this world, not only I am father of humans, he says, I am father of all 8.4 million species of life. How he is father? Because he is the one who is giving them, the food for each different type of food. Like, animals eat grasses, the birds eat fruits or worms or things like that. Humans eat vegetarian food. You can just see varieties of species, different types of food. He is providing for all of them. So, Aham Bija Pradha Pita. He is one Pita at the top and we all are his children. Now in Islam, they will not accept if you say we are children of God. Because their understanding is what? They will say that all of us are eternal beings and God is also eternal and we are also eternal. And we are not his children. And that is not against our Krishna consciousness also. I will tell you how. You see, one man asked Prabhupada, Swamiji, can I consider Krishna as my father and I am his son? Prabhupada said, no. You should think Krishna is your son. And you are like his father, like Nanda Baba is thinking or Yashoda is thinking. And the man asked, that feeling doesn't come in me very easily. Seeing God as my child, God as my friend, or God as a lover. I see more like God is father and I am child. That is, I am very comfortable with that, he said. Prabhupada said, why you are comfortable? Because small kid means keep on asking, Mama, Mama, Papa, Papa, please give me this, give me this, give me, give me, give me, give me, give me. If you are a child, you are the center of attraction at home. Mother, father, they run around and get so many things for you and feed you. And you are the enjoyer and he is a servant. Therefore you like that relationship. How many of you understand this point? Got it, yeah. On the other hand, if Krishna becomes your child, who is the center of attraction?
Krishna.
And what are you? You will be serving. So he is the point of attraction. That is actually the relationship in Goloka. Lord is the center. And the devotees run to serve him very happily. That is the ideal type of relationship. But if you are considering you are the child, God is mother and father, therefore Prabhupada says, Aham Bija Pradha Pita. That Pita is not Krishna, that Pita is Shiva, Prabhupada says in one of his lectures. Why? Because Shiva and Durga, they are the mother and father of the material world. And in the spiritual world, Radha and Krishna, the divine couple, they are the center of everybody's attraction in the spiritual world. There is Radha and Krishna. Surrounding them is all the services in the spiritual world. So in the material world, Shiva and Parvati are avoiding so many material benedictions. But if somebody is intelligent, if you go to Shiva also, you should tell him, Shiva, you have dual role. One is a for providing material benefits. And the other role is Vaishnavanam Dashanam. He is the greatest Vaishnava. You can ask him to give you darshan of Krishna, and he can very easily escort you in that direction. So now you can see the booklet will be very easy for you now. See, this is a poem. You can sing this poem together. It's a very simple meter. From the world of illusory thrills and increasing perils to the world of blissful eternal service. Okay? We will sing together. Is it big enough for you to see?
It's coming up.
It's coming up. Okay. Where is the projector?
It went to sleep.
So, I think it's big enough. I think they can follow it. Yeah. Just like and this is stop. They can see clearly, I think. Huh? While reading the poem, you also should contemplate on its meaning also, okay? The meaning is not very difficult. So, able to see? Yeah. A wealthy man is in anxiety, a penniless beggar roams carefree. One suffers not due to poverty, but only due to past misdeeds. Why? All of you can sing together. Why do bad things happen to good people? If God is all good, fair and gentle, rogues and thieves seem to flourish at ease, while pious and righteous suffer and perish. God is all good and undoubtedly just. He simply rewards us based on past acts. If you store rotten grains before adding good grains, get rotten grains first and good grains next. Our present pains come from past bad acts. Our present joys come from past good acts. Life is a mixture of pain and pleasure, like a man done to release his body. You know what is the example? In the Vedic times, a man was put on a stick upside down, thieves, and they would be submerged in water. He would be struggling to breathe. He will be struggling in the water. They would release him. When he does like that, police would say, "Tell the truth." They would tell him. And the little truth he will say. Now they will say, no, you are not telling the whole thing. Again they will dunk him in water, upside down. So now, in the same manner, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only told this example. He says that in the material world, you get little relief from problem, and that you call it as happiness. And then again one more problem comes. Then again you are released. Kurvan dukkha pratikaram sukhavan manyate grihi. So that's what he is saying here in this world. This world is a place of hunger, thirst and sorrow, disease, old age, death, and next birth follows. You are sold unto the body like the driver of a taxi, and you suffer in this body many untold miseries. Rise above all these fellows and pleasures, from the world of uncertainties and varieties of dangers, the world of mirth and merry that has slipped out of memory. It is home of everybody and free from all worry. Lord is very loudly with his millions of devotees, serving him purely with their heart and soul fully. It's a world of non-envy and mood of humble service. By chanting Lord's names holy, you will reach there safely. By eating delicious prasadam as Lord's supreme mercy, by reading and reciting Srimad Bhagavatam daily, by chanting holy names and living life purely, we can reach Lord's abode in this very life surely. So, this is like the summary. So one interesting thing is said here, a wealthy man is in anxiety. Why is in anxiety? Not a beggar is roaming carefree, but actually the suffering is not due to poverty. It is due to past mistakes. Like sometimes there's a Lifebuoy soap advertisement, if you see. They say use this soap, you'll become happy. They say, I don't know what is the connection between Lifebuoy soap and happiness. Simply by putting soap, do you become happy? If somebody scolded you, by putting soap also, you won't become happy. So actually, our suffering doesn't come by simply having a bigger car and a bigger house. I mean, you can't overcome the suffering. Generally people think, I am in a 2 BHK, if I have a 3 BHK or a villa or something, or instead of a smaller car, if you have a bigger car, there will be no misunderstanding, you'll be more happy. No. With all those things, happiness doesn't come. The unhappiness actually comes from Purva Janma Papa. Purva Janma Arjita Punyam or Papam, Agre Davati Dhavati, they said. And then why do bad things happen to good people? Because if you have stored rotten grains in the previous year, and now you are putting fresh grains in the top, when you are taking out from the bottom, what will come first? Rotten grains will come, that's the point that is said. So our pains and pleasures come from the past acts. And one should also know that we are living in a world which is infested with so many contaminations and dangers and difficulties and pains and sorrows. Therefore, one should not make a program to stay here. Even in Bible, Jesus says that the world is a bridge. Let us cross it, he says. Don't try to stay here. It's like, in our scriptures also, in the Bhagavatam you find, it says this world is like a restaurant where you eat and you wash your hands and push up. Or this world is like a train journey. Train journey, you get into the train, you have to get out of the train at one time. So in the same manner, make a plan for going back to Godhead. Or this world is called as a seashore where you may make some sandcastles. But you can't remain with the sandcastles forever. Your relation is not with the seashore. Your relation is with the parents. Correct, no? Parents will call you, hey son, it's getting dark, now let's go home. So you will just then go with the parents. Similarly, to go with God is our nature, not to stay in this world forever. That's why he's talking about the spiritual world here. So you all told about love and service. In the beginning you told. So we have spoken all these things. Okay, let us complete love and incomplete love, I told you. Loving God is complete love. Okay, now I need 2 devotees who can read this. Ram Shyam, they are having a dialogue now. Please, 2 of you read. Why should I love God? Actually, how I wrote this dialogue, one boy is ignorant and other boy is enlightened. He's a devotee boy. So they both are having a dialogue. Okay, and you should hear the dialogue and then you will be able to answer the questions. Then I will ask you questions, okay? Who will take the role of Ram? Okay. You can read it loudly. You have one mic. 2 devotees should be next to each other so you can quickly exchange and read, okay?
There is Shyam Prabhu.
Okay. Both of you can read, okay? Start. I heard
our Hare Krishna teacher speaking about loving God. I heard our Leelananda Prabhuji speaking about loving God in the last week's class. Some of our friends are challenging me. Why should I love God? What do I tell them, my friend?
Don't you enjoy the sunlight, rains, wind, water, fruits, grains, cereals, flowers, gold, silver, diamond, etc.?
I do. After all, we are all sons of God. Can't sons enjoy father's property?
Yes. As sons can enjoy father's property, the sons should also love the father.
So, Prabhupada, the one Christian asked Prabhupada, Swamiji, in this world God has created everything for us to enjoy because we are after all his sons. Prabhupada said, yes, you want to enjoy father's property, but you should obey the father also. So what is the meaning of obedience to the Supreme Father? 3 things I told you last time when I came in the VSK. If anybody remembers, if you are obedient to God, I told you anything you accept you should check. There's a 3-point check system. So one clue I will tell you, other 2 you have to remember. Sanctioned, and then there are 2 more, I said. Anybody remembers? Yeah, sanctified, 3rd one, and regulated. Give her an applause. Sanctioned, sanctified, regulated. For example, vegetarian food is sanctioned. And then when you offer the vegetarian food to Krishna, it is
Sanctified.
And if you eat in moderate proportion, it is
Regulated.
Yeah. For example, if it is prasadam, you eat too much, so much prasad, sometimes people eat. Prasadam is so tasty, right? Some people eat so much that the rice particle comes from the nose. So what are they breaking out of the 3? Yeah. Somebody says, I only eat vegetarian. One fellow was telling Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, even a monkey is a vegetarian, Prabhupada said. So what is he following out of the 3? Sanction is following. But he is not offering the food to God. It's not sanctified, correct? No. So it should be all the 3. Sanction, sanctified, regulated. So that's why he's saying that, okay, you say that everything belongs to God and God, you're all God's children, we should enjoy. Yes, you can enjoy, but how you should enjoy? Whatever you enjoy should follow these three things. It should be sanctioned, sanctified, and regulated. Okay, now you answer the question quiz for all of you. When will our love be considered complete? See, there may be more than one correct answers also, okay? You should say which ones. Okay, who can say answer? You raise your hand, I'll ask you. Yeah, yes.
D.
He's saying D, he's saying. Anybody else?
C.
Yeah, she's saying C. Anybody else?
C and D.
C and D, that's the correct answer. First one. Okay, why should we love God? Anybody? Okay, yes, ma'am. A and D. He's also raising hand. Same others raising. Okay, Ramsham can continue.
I agree. In our family,
See,
we
there
do-
are three people. Nastik, Astik, Bhakta. Three people, yeah. Ram?
I agree. In our family, we do visit Balaji at Tirupati every year. My father never starts his yearly business without praying to Balaji to ensure good profits for the year. I also visit temple before going for exams to ensure good result. I heard a Christian prayer in my convent days, addressing God for daily bread.
I appreciate your piety, Ram. Even Lord Krishna appreciates pious people as Sukritinaha in Gita, and he calls atheists as Dushkritinaha, who never care for God or thank Him for His gifts. At the same time, going to God only to ask for wealth, health, problem solving, or curiosity is not good enough.
Then what more should I do?
Even without our asking, God gives us our daily bread. If there is a food problem, that is due to our mismanagement. When we align with nature and God, everything will be profusely supplied. In fact, we have to express our love for Him by our obedience to His instructions in Bhagavad Gita, offering prayers of glorification, offering a leaf, fruit, or flower to Lord, rendering service to Lord and devotees by cooking, cleaning, washing, worshipping, teaching Gita, and loving Him, following in the footsteps of Hanuman, Arjuna, Prahlad, etc.
Is God attractive only to some people and not to others?
Some people say it is optional to worship God. What do you think of it, Sham?
One who attracts everyone, He is God. By His opulence, by His richness, by His power, by His beauty, by His knowledge, by His renunciation, and by His reputation. God is all attractive.
ऐश्वर्यस्य समग्रस्य वीर्यस्य यशस्यः ज्ञानवैराग्ययोश्चैव शन्नं भग इति गणा विष्णुपुराण. Yeah.
God cannot be attractive for some men and not for others. Everyone is either attracted to God directly or to His Maya Shakti in the form of women, wealth, and sense gratification. Just as Lord Abiders follow Prime Minister and lawbreakers follow jail laws, Maya is the jail department of Krishna for the rebellious souls. If we are intelligent, we can love God, Krishna, serve Him, go back to Godhead, and be happy forever. Those who are foolish, however, serve Maya.
Oh, that is true. I have seen our friends who claim themselves atheists but chase after opposite sex. Others are mad after sportsmen, and some others are after Bollywood actors and actresses. And some are crazy for eloquent. TED speakers are millionaires. But I wonder, Sham, don't these great personalities also control and pull thousands or even lakhs of populace by their charm? Can't we call them also God in one sense?
God, the supreme controller. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said, Ishvara Parama Krishna. Brahma Samhita 5.1. Ishvara means controller or the powerful man who controls. Take for example the president or the king. So there are many Ishwaras or controller. You are also Ishwara. I am also Ishwara. Because you also control at least your family members or some animals. So this controlling capacity is there in everyone. Because we are part and parcel of Krishna, but we are not supreme controller. We are controller of some entities, but we are controlled also by something superior. Controlled also by something superior. Therefore, we are not absolute controller. We are relative controller. But about Krishna, it is said, Ishara Parama Krishna. Brahma Samhita, by that one. Parama means supreme. He controls everyone or everything. But he is not controlled by anyone. All other living beings like Bollywood heroes, sports heroes, all become zeros over passing of time. When Sri Krishna was in Kurukshetra battlefield, he was 125 years on the earthly planet. Still, he appeared like a 16 years old youth. Thus, God is oldest, yet he appears young and ever fresh.
Other question now we can do the quiz and then come back to the question. Yeah. Please read the quiz question.
Why should we not pray to God for bread? Should I read answers also?
Answer.
Yes? Okay, how many of you say B and D? That is B and D is the answer actually. Yeah, correct. Anybody thought of any other answer? B and D is the correct answer. When I make these quizzes, I make some answers look like correct answer. And if you have a doubt, that means then the doubt has to be clear. Okay. What if somebody says that they have no interest or no need to love Krishna? Some people are saying C, some people are saying C and D. Anybody else? He is saying A and C, he is saying. Anybody? The correct answer it has not yet come. Some are saying C and D. Only C is saying some people. A, C and D. That's the correct answer. A, C and D. Because one who is not interested in Krishna, God, they become attracted to perishable heroes of the world. He said Hollywood, Bollywood heroes and all that. Similarly, if you don't follow state laws, you have to follow jail laws. Similarly, if somebody doesn't follow God's laws, they have to follow Maya's laws. Correct, no? They can't escape. Similarly, love and serve God or love and serve Dharma or Maya. That is also correct. Sometimes students choose B also, they choose sometimes. They say, it's ultimately choice of anyone to have interest or not have interest, accept or not. No, sir, you have no choice. You have to follow somebody. Either you follow God or you follow Maya. Nobody can say, I'm not attracted to anybody. Prabhupada is saying in America, he says that the hippies gave up parents. The hippies gave up education. The hippies did not follow police. They didn't follow government. They didn't follow military people also. Nobody could control them. They became unruly. What do you call that? Counterculture people. But they didn't give up one thing. What is it? Sex life. He says. Even though they gave up everything, they wanted to carry partners with them and they gave up also. And they couldn't give up. In this way you will see that in this world, the attraction, attachment, nobody can give up. Either you are attracted to God or you are going to be attracted to at least a dog. Even old people you will see in big housing, rich colonies, you find that the man's wife has passed away and his sons and daughters are abroad, he is alone. He gets a dog with a leash. He walks in the morning. You've seen that? And he feeds costly biscuits because he wants somebody to, serve and also express his affection. You will see that. So no one can say, I'm not attracted to anybody. Next, since great sportsmen, Bollywood actors and actresses attract millions, can't we call them God? Yes, all four are correct, yeah. See, the opulence of these people remains only for some time. They are beautiful for a while. When they get old, they also become ugly. The beauty will not remain forever. Huh? And the opulence is reduced, like Mike Tyson or Muhammad Ali. Their strength was enormous when they were young. When they get old, that strength wanes down. Huh? Yeah. Now you read a question, Ram. Now this question, I do agree.
I do agree, but I wonder whether God is a person or he is some concept. Because I have seen some of our spiritual minded friends consider God to be impersonal. What do you say about it?
Absolute cannot be zero or impersonal because controller must have brain. Without brain, how can he control? And as soon as you have got brain, you have got other limbs of the body to carry out the order of the brain. Therefore, the absolute controller cannot be impersonal. From our practical life, we see government. Government is an impersonal word, but behind the government, there is a prime minister, a person. A person is required who will apply his brain. So, how can the whole cosmic manifestation be controlled without brain? That is not very reasonable. We all have a head and heart physically. Also, figuratively, a heady person is intelligent and hearty person is sensitive to others. We need a balance of the two to be a complete personality. We can see from God's creation his intelligence as well as his emotion. Thus, with head and heart, God is a beautiful person.
I'll just show you something. I recently made this. How beautiful, isn't it? So by looking at this kind of things in nature, what comes to your mind? God must be a person with a beautiful heart, isn't it? She's the lilies, and that is lotus and lilies, and garden. Suddenly the rain shower, and the warmth of the sun. Similarly, so many varieties of fruits, you see. So man can only make plastic mangoes. He can't make it. It's tasty, nice. Even the coffee, see, is a very poor imitation. So many varieties. See, how beautiful, huh? So when you look at these things, surely God must be a person of very loving heart. He has a very, very artistic sense. Aesthetic appeal and artistic sense, very profound. Therefore, William Wordsworth, when he would go to places like this, he would write profuse poems. Poems will arise in the mind of great poets, they say. So that's why he said God is a person of heart. And also, he's a person of head also, because he's too smart. Like, scientists say the earth is revolving around the sun in 365.256 days. Up to the third decimal it is perfect. So perfect that you can set your watch according to that. So everything is so precise. You heard about Fibonacci, you heard about that? Yeah. Ram?
Marvelous, Sean. I totally agree with you. And I also feel there is no one as jolly as Krishna, playing on his flute, surrounded by cows, calves, deers, peacocks, monkeys, and Yamuna river behind. He is really a cool god, attractive god, and lovable god, as he loves his friend Sudama unconditionally. And he is quite different from other gods who carry big weapons to attack anyone or having to be busy in creating universes. At the same time, some of our friends aroused a doubt in my mind by asking, since he seems to be herding cows and playing with cowherd boys, how could he be the main god, source of everything?
Yeah. So recently, when I was returning from West, I returned India from Seattle. So the Seattle airport, when I was doing the security check, so my laptop was also put in one of the boxes. So one young American boy, so he saw this one. Here, no?
அதான் தான் வச்சேன்.
He saw this. He immediately got stunned, frozen for about a couple of minutes. Then he asked me, hey, wait a minute, can I see? Please give it, bring it here. So then I showed him. Then he called his friend and said, hey, they look very cool, isn't it? And he didn't know who they are. So he asked me, who are these people? So his friend was telling, hey, that is their God. They call him Krishna. That fellow is saying. I was amazed. At least even an American knows who Krishna is. He's telling me. So when I was packing my luggage, when I was about to leave, he again showed, can you please show me once again? He said. And I once again showed them. Then I want to connect him to the local temple. Surely he become a devotee. Because he's appreciating as soon as he saw them. So, therefore, even any common, there is a philosopher called Nietzsche. Nietzsche. This Nietzsche said God is dead. So some Christians thought that he is an atheist, but he is not an atheist. You have to read the full statement. He says, which God is dead? He says, if you think God is beyond the clouds with a thunderbolt to punish us for the evil deeds, I don't believe in such a God who is simply cruel-hearted towards his creatures. The creatures are always striving for perfection and they may slip sometimes. And he has to teach them a way by which they can be uplifted rather than just be a punisher of the evil. But he said, I believe in God who is a singing God and a dancing God. Like that he wrote. There is a quote by Nietzsche. But poor Nietzsche must not have met Hare Krishna, I believe, at that time. If people got to meet Hare Krishna, you would have become a devotee, surely. I believe in a dancing God, he said. So, that's what he says. Now Shyam can read, yeah.
I told you the verse from Vishnu Purana, which said, Aisharyasya Samagrasya. Samagra means complete. One rich man can claim that I am owner of 100 crores. Another can claim, no, I have got 900 crores more than you. Others may say, so on, and go on. But nobody can claim that I am the owner of all opulences. But in the Bhagavad Gita, you will find Krishna claims, Bhoktaram Yajnatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, the supreme proprietor of all the lokas, that is admitted by the Shastra.
Yeah, correct, no? Somebody may be Lakpati, or Karodapati, or Arabpati, but Krishna is Lakshmipati. All Lakshmi of everyone belongs to him. Yeah.
Krishna is God at home and Vishnu is God at office. Like you find a military officer on battalion appears with uniform, cap, belt, gun, shoes, stars, strips, etc. The same officer at home won't be showing his gun to his wife or children. Also, he may be wearing a lungi and banyan, relaxing in an easy chair at home. Vishnu and Krishna are like that.
Oh, that is simply superb. I think it is like our PM of India is in Parliament and PM at home. Is it not?
Perfectly right. Do you like your father in office or at home?
Oh, naturally I love my father at home.
Therefore, the form of Krishna in Vrindavan is most charming to heart of all, where God gives opportunity for all jivas to access him in his sweetest aspect and be a part of his playful, sportive, joyful pastimes. And in Vaikuntha, he is the master of all his devotees. Going back to Godhead and joining the eternal service to God is ultimate goal of life.
That is really worth aspiring for. To go back to Godhead and dance with God. Carefree with no study tension, job tension, old age or disease. That would be a joyful life for all time. But I see most human beings in this world chasing after sense gratification are caught up in their worldly duties with no plan for going back to Godhead. They seem to have forgotten their goal of life altogether.
Yes? Who knows the answer? Somebody is saying A? Answer is A, C and D. Actually, some are very quick, huh? They will quickly catch up. So, anybody thinks B? You think B, then you can study. God is personal, God is not impersonal. There's one more. Some wonder how Krishna, who herds cows, is the ultimate God. What do you think? Yes? Yeah, B, C, and D. That's the correct answer, yeah. So, now I will stop here. What is this page number 7? We are in page number 7. Next time when Virantu calls me, I'll continue from here. Where is that? You all found it interesting?
Yes.
Actually, one thing with this booklet, you have to be very internally alert. Because if you are interested in the dialogue, you hear well, then only you can grasp it. Because I don't speak much once this booklet starts, correct, no? Because the Ram Shyam and they take over, they both really matched very well, I feel. Ram is like a small, it's very boyish like voice, and Shyam is like a very mature fatherly voice. I think next time we should continue and complete it. So we will continue from there. This booklet may have about 12 pages, I think. So I will remember where we left and we will continue on next time. Shri Prabhupada ki Jai.
Let us thank Radheshyam Prabhu with 3 loud.
Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol!
Once more. Yeah, thank you. So, there is a special reason why we are meeting today. As you all can see, it's Festival of Inspiration. Festival of Inspiration, there is a history to it. It was started, of course, it's Srila Prabhupada who inspired the whole world to come towards Krishna. But his disciples in New Vrindavan, one of the farm communities in America, in Pennsylvania, they started the Festival of Inspiration, I think 2 decades ago, if I'm not wrong. Somewhere in 90s they started. And every single year, in the month of May, the Mother's Day weekend they say, there are like so many devotees, like 700-800 devotees who go to that place, and it's like a remote place between mountains, right? And there are so many speakers who come, and there are 3 lectures going on at the same time in 3 different camps, right? Like a hall like this, you can see like 3 halls, or maybe more. And 3 like great sannyasis are giving one lecture in one place. And the biggest anxiety for the people who attend is where to go. So when I went there for the first time, I think in 2009 I went there. It was a big question. One place, Niranjan Maharaj, one of my favorite sannyasi Maharaj, was giving a very nice lecture. His kirtans are unbelievable. Another place, there is one more Swami Maharaj, and there is another place, another one Mataji. She was giving amazing Urmila Mataji, right? So she was giving. So we were like, what to do? So I told my wife, okay, you go to Urmila Mataji, I will go to Niranjan Maharaj. They're like, what about that Maharaj? We'll just keep a speaker there. Some recorder there. It was like that. And since the time we came back to India, we were always missing this aspect of Festival of Inspiration. And it's really an inspiring day where we are all inspired to go closer to Krishna. Right? So this is the background. So I welcome you all for the Festival of Inspiration 2022. And maybe many more such inspiration festivals will happen. There are 2 drop also get up. So let us say Haribol for all this 48 hours.
Haribol! Haribol! Haribol!
Yeah, so there is one Mataji from Bangalore. She was in this Padma Mataji. She is an elderly Mataji, and she gets the highest marks in Sloka recitation. Okay, there are some who have really been struggling on any online classes. Only in-person classes. So there is no way we can miss your face, or whatever you're doing. So it's been a great journey of doing this Bhakti Shastri. And in the beginning, we thought Bhakti Shastri, I didn't know what was there. I did it in the past in US, but it was like crash course. Then I asked, can we do it in 6 months? Then I said, 6 months you want to finish Bhakti Shastri? It will take 5 classes a week. No, we can't do in 6 months. But can we do in 1 year? Then they said 3 classes in a week. And all of us are working devotees here, Everybody is already being tortured by their bosses and, So getting in the evening, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock is like a struggle. If I can say the secret, some of them were even, I don't know in what meetings they were. 1 year on the Bhakti Shastri class, let me hear it, let me not miss it. Yeah. So somehow we did go through the struggles and we reached a point. Now we are finished with all the modules except the shloka recitation test is pending for Bhagavad Gita 3 and for Nectar of Devotion. This is the only thing pending. 3 days a week, probably. Yeah.
2 hours each time.
2 hours each time. Yeah. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Last July we started, and this July we are ending. So it is exactly 1 year. Projo saying probably the fastest batch. So the journey was unbelievable, and we really felt, that we as a group we all used to meet, especially for writing the exam. So me and Satya Prabhu, we had this office software company, and we used to just block the place for doing a Bhakti Shastri exam. So everybody used to come there, and every time we used to meet, they were like, how can we reciprocate what we have received? Because the knowledge that we received, and with the affection that we have been given, this knowledge is really, unbelievable. I can't forget the stress on atonement that Prabhuji gave, in his class, the nectar of instruction. Like, what is the importance of atonement? So much he was explaining. We really felt that every teacher really wanted to give us something very, very special. And we didn't know how to reciprocate. We were like, what can we do? What can we do? Then we said, why don't we call everybody here? Is it possible? One option is we all go there, or the second option is, can we bring them here? So we discussed and we said, okay, let us request and see. So this we took Radhesham Prabhu's time, and once Radhesham Prabhu's date is finalized, then we requested everybody. Everybody are so busy preaching, they are very senior preachers, and they have the congregations and projects. And Vamsivadhan Prabhu literally was traveling to Bombay, Prabhuji said, I'm not going to come. I called him 3 times, please. And really, Prabhuji made it here, so grateful. So we have a small, is Prabhuji coming? Anantago Prabhu? Yeah, we need to give. So with no more delay, we wanted to give a small gift of, though the gift only represents what the least we could think of, what would be best suited to give, because they're brahmacharis and all preachers and on the run preaching. So we said, okay, let us try to do something which will be helpful in the preaching process. So may I request Radhesham Prabhu to just give a small token of gift to each one of them when I call.
See, the gift should be given by you and your wife together. Call the Mataji also. You both should give. On behalf of this congregation, you both should give. I am also living with them in Pune only. If you give, it will be most appropriate. Mataji, Anuradha Mataji here? Okay, then you only give. You should give.
Okay, last one offer. Okay, so may I request Giriraj Prabhu, Shri Giriraj Prabhu, please come and give the gift to Vamsivadhan Prabhuji. Can you kindly? Prabhuji can come here.
Prabhuji, maybe near the poster.
Huge gift.
Welcome Vamsivadhan Prabhu, 3 Lord Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Team of DVR, you know that?
Yes. Oh.
We have.
In Pune Bhakti Vedanta Raja Vidyalaya we have, no? In that, I am playing the role of a director, but he is a chairman. I am the chairman, he is the director. And whatever, of course, I just have to make sure the things happen by observing them. But he and Kanna Krishna Prabhu and Gopal Prabhu, we have done, he plays a very, very vital role. Satyajit Rajavidya started just about a couple of years ago. Actually, a couple of years ago we started with no website. Last year website was launched. Now there are more than 1,000 students and 50 Vedanta Vidyashram in Pune. He's one of the congregation teenage age of 10 to 15. So he is one of the main who's running the BVVA in Pune, Bhakti Vedanta Vidyashram. Runs every morning.
Yeah, Praveen Prabhu, please. Yeah, Anantago Prabhuji, please show it. Please accept the question of you. Let us welcome Anantago Prabhu. Anantago Prabhu is our class teacher.
He is the primary teacher for the whole course I got. Anantago Prabhu also has heard many lectures of His Holiness Bhakti Vidyapurna Maharaj in Mayapur. So he is a very intellectual devotee and he has a life pattern department. That is one, he is very analytical in nature. He is a good teacher and he is a coordinator of the whole course.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. The most hostile time that Prabhuji took, I mean, really we all felt from our heart, Prabhuji. Sloka recitation, like crazy time we gave. I'm sorry to use that word, but 12 hours continuous test. 12 hours from morning till night. And sometimes devotees are like, Prabhuji, they spend, wait, 12 hours. Okay, you only tell, but wait. We are so patient in, getting to all the, we can add some words. But let us thank special Hari Bol to Prabhuji. I call Shripad Mahaprabhu to please come. Udayanand Prabhu, please come here. Yeah. Let's welcome Shripad Mahaprabhu to Lord Hari Bol.
Shripad Mahaprabhu stays in the Vela Pond and he does a lot of village preaching also. Apart from that, he has a natural inclination, flavor for Shastric study and teaching. He is also doing youth preaching as well as he has taken one during this recent times. What is that village project you call it as? 108 villages now. 125. 125. Probably 125th year they are going to 125 villages to distribute books and very many things they are doing. Eventually they are going to do preaching in all these villages around the Vela Pond.
Thank you. A small gift from us. May I call Sakshi Prabhu and Balgwan Prabhu, please come here. A very senior devotee also here, Balgwan Prabhu. Let's welcome Sakshi Prabhu, Three Lord Hari Bol. There is one more devotee to give. One minute. May I request actually Mahalingam Mayor Prabhu to give this gift first. No, next call. There is a reason. Mahalingam Mayor Prabhu met Sakshi Prabhu in a train. He got introduced to Krishna consciousness in a train. It's so amazing that Prabhuji is now aspiring and so much progress is making and the Siksha Guru is right here. So please, the gift should go from your hands.
The house gets flooded with devotees because he has such a nice relationship with all those leaders.
Then we finally asked Prabhuji, can you ask Maharaj to give us some audience? And he actually made Maharaj come and give a class to all of us. We all had the fortune. Those Sundays were the most blissful Sundays, in the beginning, where we had so many sannyasi Maharajas coming and giving one after the other. In one way, COVID was a good thing to happen. But we really want to thank you, Prabhuji, for giving the audience of Maharaj. And let's thank Radhesham Prabhu and the whole amazing preachers from BVRV, from Pune, who have educated all of us with three loud and enthusiastic Hari Bols.
I think they also wanted to say, please pass.
Actually, in Hyderabad also we are going to start BVRV, same name only. But why I am telling you, all of you have to become teachers.
Hare Krishna. So we are restarting again the Festival of Inspiration. Prabhuji has to leave. Prabhuji will stay for some time, and Rajesh and Prabhu has other classes to give today. This is a busy schedule. So we will begin with each one of the speakers. But I would request, we have another, how many minutes? 11:30 is the time it starts. Yeah, we have 10 minutes, right? So I would request anybody in the classroom, so-called classroom now here, to share any of your reflections of what you experienced during the Bhakti Shastri. Anybody? The teachers are here. Any special moments? Yeah? Yeah, Deepa Mataji, she is again, very, very sincere student, writing notes. You want to say something?
PhD in Bhakti Shastri.
Hare Krishna Prabhujis and Matajis. I really want to thank very, very sincerely to all the teachers.
Hare Krishna. Can everybody please settle down? Yeah. Hari Bol, yeah. So, yes, Deepa Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhujis and Matajis. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak first on Bhakti Shastri, though I am no Shastri at all. So, yeah, my reflection is that I want to sincerely thank every teacher who actually gave us the class, because they made us love the scriptures so much and learn from the scriptures, learn about Krishna and get so much closer to Krishna. So for my main intention of actually joining Bhakti Shastri was to get closer to Krishna, and the mission is accomplished. So yeah, thank you very much. And if I compare myself from pre-Bhakti Shastri days to now, originally I should not say this, but I used to find Bhagavad Gita very dry. So I wouldn't understand anything what I was reading, and I would come till the 4th chapter, and then again I would take a break and again come back to the 1st chapter, again read till 4th chapter. I don't know what was there in the 4th chapter, but yeah, it is confidential knowledge, so I wouldn't get past it. so yeah. But when the classes started, I felt that there was so much of rasa in it, the bhakti rasa, and I actually enjoyed every bit of the Bhakti Shastri class. So everybody knows me so well because I was like sincerely attending every class. I think I can count on fingers the number of classes that I have missed. I have hardly missed any classes, so probably some 3-4, but not much.
Haribol.
That is what my whole day I would just wait for the Bhakti Shastri class. In fact, I took my work so lightly. I made very few clients in this 1 year, so I put everything aside for Bhakti Shastri, and I really can't say that there are so many exalted devotees in this, and I am hardly anything. I don't even participate in many services. But I can vouch for it that I am always sincere. My sincerity is there to learn and to associate with all the devotees, be it online. I am a person who will actually laid back, always sitting at home and try to associate. So it's like kind of a lazy devotee. But yeah, that's what me. But Bhakti Shastri is a really wonderful thing to happen to me. I think it's Krishna's blessing and all the teachers' mercy. Because without mercy, I wouldn't have been here. Thank you so much.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna. So, for some of you might be thinking, what is this Bhakti Shastri they're talking about? Right? Yeah, so to know that, you can go and register yourself in that corner. Whoever has not done Bhakti Shastri, there is Deepa Mataji standing there. So please go and register yourself, you'll know everything about Bhakti Shastri. So it's an amazing explanation, and we had the first class about the introduction of Bhakti Shastri by Vamsivardhan Prabhu. It was a very, very beautiful understanding of how Srila Prabhupada wanted all of us to be formally educated in Shastra. and how much it was very important that we quote Shastra whenever we speak any philosophy. Because there are so many philosophers everywhere, but how many are speaking the philosophy that God has spoken? So the way Prabhuji explained, and so many quotes of Prabhupada Prabhuji gave, where Prabhupada himself is saying that Bhakti Shastri has to be, taught. And in fact, Prabhupada gave a little more version of Bhakti Shastri also, like there are a few more, which I think looking at Kaliga's situation, like after Prabhupada they decreased it a little bit, but most of the main part of Bhakti Shastri is still kept intact. So I highly encourage, if somebody wants to really formally learn Bhagavad Gita, Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Devotion, Ishopanishad, these 4 scriptures, they give a full understanding of Krishna conscious philosophy. Please do sign up for Bhakti Shastri, and you can still do it. I think, I always say that, there was, when I did my CA, I don't know how I did it, but when I did my CA, one of my friends came and asked me a passport size picture. I said, why do you want my passport size picture? He said, just give it to me. He was really frustrated at that time. So he took my passport size picture, and then I asked him, what are you going to do with it? So he was not passing CA. He was going through many attempts. So he said, I'm going to keep your picture on my office desk, and every day morning I'm going to think that if this fellow could do it, anybody can do it. So this first batch of Bhakti Shastri that we have are, without your permission, the most notorious batch. Right? Everybody has a different flavor of, writing answers or asking questions or so many things that used to happen behind the curtains. So if we could do Bhakti Shastri, you all want to say that, yeah? We could do Bhakti Shastri. Everybody here can do Bhakti Shastri. So please, on a serious note, there is Hema Mataji there. Can you lift your hand, Mataji? Yeah, both the hands. Just so you can go and give your name, and we will start a Bhakti Shastri batch maybe 2 months from now. You all can sign up. It doesn't have to be so aggressive as Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We'll try to figure out maybe 2 days in a week. But it still can be done. You all can do it. We all can study, and we all can become more authentic in what we are doing. Right? So without any more delay, we will start the Festival of Inspiration, the first lecture from His Grace Vamsi Vadan Prabhu. I'll just give a brief introduction of Prabhuji, with your permission, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So Vamsi Vadan Prabhu is here. Prabhuji, the Vyasa. Let's welcome Prabhu. Real out Hare Krishna. Can you please help Prabhuji sit down to move you? So Vamsivardhan Prabhu studied MBBS from Pune University and is a medical doctor by profession. Prabhuji was introduced to Krishna consciousness in 1996, and Prabhuji joined ISKCON Pune as full-time brahmachari in 1999, where Prabhuji served in youth college preaching and corporate preaching departments. Vamsivardhan Prabhuji teaches Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, Bhakti Vedanta, TTC, ISKCON Disciples course in various parts of India and outside India. Prabhuji is a teacher of Mayapur Institute. Prabhuji is also a member of ISKCON Board of Examinations and is serving as a Secretary General for ISKCON LEADS. LEADS means Leadership Education and Development System. So let us once again thank Prabhuji for giving us the course and coming here all the way to Hyderabad for again giving his audience and maybe one amazing class again. Hare Krishna. Hari 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 Hari.
Hare Krishna.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai Srila Prabhupada की
जय।
समेत गौर भक्त वृंद की
जय।
ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललितां श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरद्विषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So first of all, I would like to thank His Grace Leelanand Prabhu for kindly inviting us for this festival of inspiration, and I'm sure we will be very much inspired by being present over here. And of course, we would like to thank all of you for kindly being present over here for this festival. Definitely, we would like to thank all the Bhakti Shastri students for taking the great, performing this great yajna of going through this Bhakti Shastri course for one long year with all so many other responsibilities and duties, but still you'll manage to attend the classes and go through all the exams and everything. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank all the other teachers. When the request first came to us at BVRV for conducting this course, so we were wondering as to who would be the primary teacher and take responsibility for the whole batch. So we approached Anand Gopru and Proji kindly agreed. So we are grateful to Anand Gopru for kindly agreeing to the service, and then also all the other teachers who kindly agreed to do the service in spite of all their very busy schedules. They took out time. So extremely grateful to all of you. Okay. So we are planning to speak on this topic of rights and responsibilities. So we find that in this world, everyone has a desire to claim their rights. We find in the world, in the history, there have been so many revolutions, so many people have laid down their lives to get their rights, right for freedom, right for getting so many other things in this world. We find the workers go on strike to have their rights. So in this way, everyone wants their rights. But one becomes qualified, eligible for rights when one performs responsibilities. So when the responsibilities are performed,
then one can claim the rights. Everyone is interested in getting their rights, but if the responsibilities are not done, then they don't become eligible for the rights. Srila Prabhupada writes, I'm sure it maybe at least some of you remember, the first sentence of the purport to the third mantra of the Ishopanishad. Anybody remember? Don't worry, we're not taking another exam here. Ishopanishad, mantra 3, first sentence of the purport. Prabhupada begins the purport by saying, human life is a life of responsibility. So the human life differs from animal life because in human life one can take responsibility. So the word responsibility, if we split it in two, ability to respond. So only in human life one has the free will, the choice to decide how to respond in a particular situation. And depending upon how one responds in that particular situation, then that creates reaction, which in turn decides the future. So this ability to respond in a particular situation, that responsibility is there only with human beings. And because the human beings have been given this responsibility, they also have been given certain rights or certain facilities. So what is the special facility in the human form of life? Again, in that same purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, giving the example of a clerk and a high court judge. So there's a high court judge and there is a clerk working in the same court. But what is the difference? The High Court judge may come just for a few hours, but he is given much more facilities. He may be given a bungalow, a car, and servants, and so many facilities. And the servant or the clerk working in the same office, he may be working from morning to night, many more hours, but he may not be getting all those facilities. Why? What is the reason? Responsibility. The High Court judge has a greater responsibility. Because he has a greater responsibility, therefore more facilities are offered. So similarly, the human form of life also, there are better facilities than the animals. In what way? Anybody can say in what way the human beings have better facilities than animals? Intelligence, okay. Communication, fine.
We have the discrimination to choose the right from the wrong.
Okay, that's correct. But what is the additional facility which we have as human beings?
Back to what we can fly.
Prabhupada gives a very simple down-to-earth example. He says that just like you've seen a small bird eating, when the small bird is eating some grains or something, what is the bird doing? Looking here and there. The bird is always looking here and there. Why? There is always fear that somebody will attack. Somebody may do something. When we are eating, do we have any such fears? Do we have to look here and there if somebody is going to come to attack? No, we don't have that. So definitely as human beings, we have better facilities than the animals. Why? Because there is a greater responsibility. And therefore, one has to understand what is that responsibility in the human form of life. Therefore, in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, we have this famous verse, Nirdehamadhyam sulabham sudallabham plavam sukalpam gurukarnadharam Mayanukulena nabhasvataritam puman bhavabdhim nataratsa atmaha. So here he is saying that nirdeham, the human form of life, sulabham, one has got it easily. Okay, so definitely after many millions of lives in different species, but we have got it easily. At the same time, it is sudurlabham, extremely rare. And this human form of life has been compared to plavam, a boat. And the captain of the boat is the guru, the spiritual master. And Maya Anukulena, Krishna himself is speaking this verse. And he's saying, I myself have given Nabaswa, the favorable breezes, to take the ship across the ocean of material existence. So Krishna himself has given the various scriptures. So in spite of all these facilities, if one does not use all these facilities for crossing the bhavabdhim, for crossing the ocean of material existence, then he is compared to Atmaha, the killer of the soul. Soul, of course, cannot be killed, but we are destroying the propensity of the soul, we are killing the propensity of the soul to love and serve Krishna. And so therefore, the human form of life, there is a great responsibility to perform the activities which are meant for human beings. And that is to study the scriptures, to understand what is dharma, to practice dharma, and to cross this ocean of material existence. So we find that amongst the human beings, Srila Prabhupada would often say that civilized human beings means there must be practice of varnashram. The 4 varnas and the 4 ashramas. So the 4 varnas and the 4 ashramas, we see that in each of them there are certain rights and responsibilities. So we see the brahmanas. So the brahmanas, they can accept charity, that is their right. But at the same time, they have to perform their responsibilities. What is the responsibilities of the brahmanas? Yajan, yajan, patan, patan. That is their responsibility. So when they perform their responsibility, then they also have certain rights. Similarly, the Kshatriyas, what is their right? They can tax the people. But what is their responsibility? They need to give protection. So in this way we find in every varna, in every ashram, there are certain rights and there are certain responsibilities. So the Shastras are very clearly saying that one is entitled to the rights when one performs the responsibilities. So especially in that connection, we find in the 4th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Maharaj Prithu is giving instructions to his citizens. And here we find that Maharaj Prithu, he says, this is Canto 4, Chapter 21, Text 24. He says, any king who does not teach his citizens about their respective duties in terms of varna and ashram, but who simply exact tolls and taxes from them is liable to suffer for the impious activities which have been performed by the citizens. In addition to such degradation, the king also loses his own fortune. So if the king, he simply levies taxes, he gets the taxes, but he does not perform his duty of educating the citizens, of giving them instructions, if he does not perform his duty, then what happens? He has to suffer for the impious activities of the citizens. And not only that, it is mentioned that he has to suffer the 1/6 of the reactions for all the sinful activities of the citizens. And not only that, but he loses his own good fortune. So in this way, if the king doesn't perform his duty and he only gets the rights, he only levies taxes, but he doesn't perform his duty, then he actually has to suffer. So here, Srila Prabhupada mentions that how anyone in a responsible position, they need to perform their respective duties. That is a very important aspect for everyone. So we find these same instructions were given by the Supreme Lord to Maharaj Prithu, which Maharaj Prithu is now repeating to his citizens. So this is the way how a responsible person needs to give instructions to his subordinates. And when giving instructions, it is important that one simply repeats the instructions of the Shastra, one simply repeats the instructions of the Supreme Lord without any concoctions. That is what is basically called as the Parampara system. So the instruction which Lord Vishnu gave to Maharaj Prithu is to give protection to the general mass of people who are citizens of the state is the prescribed occupation duty for a king. By acting in that way, the king in his next life shares 1/6 of the result of the pious activities of the citizens. But a king or executive head of state who simply collects taxes from the citizens but does not give them proper protection as human beings has the results of his own pious activities taken away by the citizens. And in exchange for his not giving protection, he becomes liable to punishment for the impious activities of his subjects. So in this way, the Lord himself explains that how when one does not perform duty but simply executes the rights, he takes his rights, that is, he collects the taxes but he does not do his duty, then that's how he has to actually suffer for the sinful activities of his dependents, of his subordinates. And therefore, the performance of responsibilities and duties is a very important aspect of Vedic life. Prabhupada writes in the purport, the same principle can be applied to parents and spiritual masters as well. If parents simply give birth to children like cats and dogs, but cannot save their children from imminent death, they become responsible for the activities of their animalistic children. Lately, such children are turning into hippies. Similarly, if a spiritual master cannot direct his disciples to become free of sinful activities, he becomes responsible for their sinful acts. These subtle laws of nature are unknown to the present leaders of society. Since the leaders of society have a poor fund of knowledge and the citizens in general are rogues and thieves, there cannot be an auspicious situation for human society. At the present moment, the whole world is full of such incompatible combination of state and citizens, and therefore there is constant tension, war and anxiety as an inevitable result of such social conditions. And that is exactly what we see in the world today. So much of war, so much of anxiety, so much of tension, because different people who are supposed to perform their different responsibilities are not performing their responsibilities. So nowadays we see political leaders, what do they know about Shastra? Hardly anything. And yet they are put in these high posts and positions, but they're not able to perform their responsibilities. But yet they're claiming their rights that they're taking, but they're not able to do their responsibilities. In Dwarka, once there was a Brahmana. So the Brahmana, as soon as his wife gave birth to a child, the child immediately died. So when the child died, the father, the Brahmana, he took the dead body of the child in front of the court of Maharaj Ugrasen. And the Brahmana started criticizing Maharaj Ugrasen very severely. And he said, Brahma Dvisha Shata Diyo Lubdhasya Vishayatmanaha Shatra Bandho Karma Doshat Panchatvam Me Gato Arbakaha. So he said, this Maharaj Ugrasen, what are his qualities? So even a person like Maharaj Ugrasen, because this Brahmana lost his child, the Brahmana, he immediately blamed Maharaj Ugrasen. And he said that this king, he is envious of the Brahmanas, Brahmadvisha. He's shata, he's duplicitous mentality, shata diyo, lubdhasya, he's very greedy, vishayatmanaha, he is attached to sense gratification. He's not a true Kshatriya, he's a Shatra Bandho. And because of karma doshat, because there has been some dosha in his karma, therefore my child has died. in this way, he started blaming Maharaj Ugrasen. So then, second time, again his wife gave birth to a child. Second time also the child died. Third time, again the child died. And every time the child would die, the Brahmana would come in front of the court of Maharaj Ugrasen, and every time he would in this way sing his song of lamentation and blame Maharaj Ugrasen. So the ninth time when the child died, at that time Arjuna and Krishna, they were passing that way. So Arjuna, hearing the lamentation of this Brahmana, Arjuna asked the Brahmana, what happened? Why is there no Kshatriya who is ready to protect your child? Why are you lamenting? And then Arjuna says that if a Kshatriya is not able to protect the Brahmanas and a Brahmana is lamenting, then such a Kshatriya is actually only an actor. He is a natta. He's simply playing, he's simply acting his role. He's not a real king. In this way Arjuna says. And Arjuna, he says that now you don't worry. Now I will protect your child. Don't worry. So Arjuna says that. The Brahmana says, Vasudev, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, all these people have tried to protect my son. None of them were successful. And you claim you can do it? So Arjuna says, I'm not Aniruddha, I'm not Pradyumna, I'm none of these people. I am the wielder of Gandiva. So definitely I will protect. So anyways, so the Brahmana, he puts faith in Arjuna's words. And then the next time his wife was going to give birth to a child, immediately the Brahmana, he runs to Arjuna and says, please protect my child, please protect my child. And immediately Arjuna, he comes over there, he chants mantras, and he covers the whole house of the Brahmana with arrows. He makes it like a cage surrounded by arrows. And as soon as the child was born, what happened? Again the child died. So as soon as the child died, the Brahmana started saying, oh, what a great mistake I made by trusting this liar Arjuna. This person, he simply brags about himself. He's not able to do anything. And then Arjuna had made a vow, if I'm not able to protect, I will enter fire. But before that, Arjuna, he traveled throughout the entire universe, from Patal Lok till the highest planetary system, Brahmalok. Throughout the universe he traveled, trying to search for the child, for the children. He could not find. And then he came back, and then he was going to enter fire. And at that time Krishna stops him. And then he takes Arjuna beyond the material universe to the abode of Mahavishnu, where Mahavishnu had taken all these children to have darshan of Krishna. But the point here is that how the sense of responsibility and the sense of performing duty was so much stressed in the Vedic times by the Shastra. And so we find that when the king would not perform his duty, the citizens would blame the king if anything wrong would happen in the kingdom. And similarly, we find the kings also would be so responsible for their duties. We also have examples of Maharaj Rantidev. You definitely may have heard stories of Maharaj Rantidev, how he fasted for 48 days and then he was going to break his fast. And then first a Brahmana comes and asks for food. Rantidev gives. Then some Chandala comes. Then some person comes with a pack of dogs. He feeds all of them. Finally only a glass of water was remaining. And then finally one Shudra, he comes saying, I'm so hungry and thirsty. And he gives even that. So Maharaj Rantidev, as he was giving the glass of water, he says, I'm now offering this glass of water, understanding that my happiness lies in the happiness of all the living entities, because the living entities are all parts and parcels of Krishna. So that was the sense of responsibility of these kings. We also hear about the story of Maharaj Shibi, how there was the pigeon and there was a hawk chasing the pigeon. And then Maharaj Shibi was ready to cut off his flesh equal to the weight of the pigeon to feed the hawk. So we have all these examples to show that how in the Vedic times the sense of responsibility was always there. And so because there was the sense of responsibility and everyone was performing their duties very wonderfully, then the subordinates were also very happy to serve the leaders, to serve the seniors. They were all very happy to do that because the leaders were very wonderfully performing their responsibilities. So therefore we find that in the Bhagavad Gita also, Lord Shri Krishna in so many verses, he explains both these aspects. One has to perform the duties, the responsibilities, and then Krishna reciprocates by giving facilities. So should we have some shloka test? So which are the shlokas where Krishna says he is ready to give rewards, but first responsibility has to be performed? Anyone can say at least one shloka. Yes, those who have finished Bhagavad Gita.
There is one sloka called Karya Karya Vyavastito.
Okay, that is there. Performing, one should know what is to be done, what is not to be done. But which is the shloka where Krishna is saying, I will give something, but first you have to do something? Okay. Okay, so there he's saying, okay, everything must be offered to Vishnu, otherwise there will be bondage. Okay? Yes, Prabhu.
यत्करोसि यदस्नासि
Wait, Prabhu. Huh?
ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते तां तथैव भजाम्यहम् मम वर्तमानं वर्तन्ते
Okay, fine. So Krishna reciprocates, okay, according to the level of sadhana. Okay, fine. Any other? Somebody was saying. Yes, that is a good verse. Ananyas chintayanto ma
ये जनाः
jana paripasate.
तेषां कृतयुक्तानां क्षेमं वहाम्यहम्.
They've done the shlokas well. So you find that Krishna is saying, I'm ready to reward. Yoga kshemam vahamyaham. Whatever is lacking, I'm ready to give. Whatever one has, I'm ready to protect. But there is a condition. What is the condition? Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paripasate. So if one is ready to perform devotional service 24 hours, thinking of Krishna, worshipping Krishna. So like here, I've been hearing that Leelan Prabhu is mercifully keeping everyone totally packed, 24 hours engagement in Krishna service. So it's very, very inspiring to see so many Grihastha devotees performing their responsibilities. We're talking about responsibility, but I think so. We have so much to learn over here from yourself and all the wonderful devotees here, that how everyone is performing their so many duties and responsibilities, both conditional duties, constitutional duties, with so much of responsibility. And so therefore, I think so definitely Krishna is reciprocating by providing everything what is needed for the community to flourish so wonderfully. So I think so there's so much evidence of that that we can see over here. So yes, so Krishna is ready to provide whatever is lacking, and he's ready to protect if we perform our duties, our responsibilities of trying to satisfy him, of trying to serve him. In the same way, anybody would like to think of 1, 2 more verses, very famous verses?
Tesham satata yuktanam.
Yes, good. Tesham satatayuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. So here also Krishna is saying, I am ready to give all intelligence by which one can achieve me. But again there, responsibility, duty has to be performed. What is that? Tesham satatayuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. So, if one performs devotional service, satata 24 hours one performs devotional service. At the same time, there is an important element in that devotional service, and that is priti, with love. So the devotional service definitely needs to be performed. One has to be engaged in service. But there has to be a quality of that service, priti. That is what Krishna is expecting. So just like anyone in this world wants to be served with love, correct? So Radhashyam Prabhu was just speaking on reviving love. So everyone, the Atma is actually, the soul is seeking for love. And everyone is seeking to be served and to serve with love. That is the constitutional position of the Jivatma. Just like if one somebody is cooking, say somebody is cooking, a mother is cooking for the child, the favorite item. So how the mother cooks for the child? Yes, with lot of love, needless to say. But how that love is exhibited? Okay, one is favorite. Okay, the favorite dish is prepared. But then what else goes into that preparation? Okay, there's hard work, consciousness, best ingredients. Yes. So when there is priti, when there is love, then one makes sure that the service is done in the best possible way. Correct? That is the sign of love. If one wants to here what is the devotee's favorite item? What? Huh? Gulab Jamuns. Okay, let's take an example of I don't know if devotees here like ISKCON right from beginning there was halwa, suji ka halwa. Here nobody likes it.
There is nothing we don't like.
From ISKCON early days, in big pandal programs they would serve hot halwa, butter halwa. So if one wants to make halwa, one can take suji, put some water, put some sugar. That is halwa, correct? Ghee is opulence, isn't it? If you just put these three ingredients, you can call it halwa, isn't it? Huh? You can call it halwa, no? Yes. You can call it halwa. But if somebody just mixes these three ingredients and gives to you, how happy you will be. But that same halwa can be made in so many different ways, right? Along with those three ingredients, you can add so many more things. You can add ghee and dry fruits and what else? So many flavors, pineapple flavor, mango flavor, so many things you can do. Colors. So many colors also. Then that is the exhibition of priti, love. When one makes some sacrifice. Love means sacrifice. Yesterday was a very special day. Who can say for what? Yes. The incorporation of ISKCON in New York. When? 1966. Yeah, definitely 66. Anybody knows the date? 22nd July? That was yesterday. But when was the original date?
22nd July.
In 1966, what was the date? When it was actually incorporated. Okay, homework for all of you. It was definitely July, but yes, that's right, 13th July,
Google.
1966. So, in this incorporation of ISKCON and the starting of ISKCON, we are all over here because of Srila Prabhupada's sacrifice of love for starting this ISKCON. And I think so, Anand Gop Prabhu and one more speaker, I'm not remembering us. Okay, Sripad Mahaprabhu.
Three of us are speaking on.
Srila Prabhupada, correct? Yes, good. So, so definitely they will speak wonderfully on the glories of Srila Prabhupada and Srila Prabhupada's pastimes and Srila Prabhupada's sacrifice. But that is love. When there is love, there is sacrifice. So here, of course, we find Leelanand Prabhu's sacrifice because of his love for all the devotees. So, this is responsibility. When one has that sense of responsibility, one is ready to sacrifice. So Srila Prabhupada made that amazing sacrifice, unparalleled in the history of Vaishnavism, to give us Krishna consciousness because of his unlimited compassion. But that is love. When there's love, there's sacrifice. One is very attentive to performing that service in such a way that Guru and Krishna are actually pleased by that service. One wants to offer the best. That is the meaning of love. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we read in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, would glorify Raghav Pandit as if he had 5 mouths. Why? Mahaprabhu explains, Raghav Pandit had hundreds of coconut trees in his garden. But just to get the best of coconuts, he would travel many kilometers away to get the best coconuts, even if it meant paying a higher price. And he would get the coconuts, he would wash them, dip them in cooling waters, then remove the coconut water and offer to the deities. And the lordships, the deities would be so pleased with that offering because it was made with so much of love that they would actually drink the coconut water, leaving no Mahaprasad. And one day, Raghav Pandit sends a servant to bring the coconuts. So the servant brings the coconuts, and as the servant is entering the door, for some reason he stands over there. He touches one hand to the wall, and the same hand he touches the coconuts. Raghav Pandit happens to see that, and Raghav Pandit says, "You're so foolish, you don't understand. There are so many people walking through the gate. The dust from their feet goes on the wall, and that same dust you're putting to the coconuts. These coconuts are not fit for offering, throw them." And he sends the servant again many kilometers away to get the coconuts. So why Raghav Pandit was so, you could say, fanatic about cleanliness? Was he a cleanliness fanatic? Or as Prabhupada says in that purports, Raghav Pandit was not suffering from a cleansing phobia. You know what's a cleansing phobia? Fear of something unclean. A phobia is a fear. So some people just fear, they're just allergic to something being unclean. Is it that Raghav Pandit was suffering from something like that? Why he wanted to maintain that cleanness?
Preeti Purvakam.
Yes, the best offering. He wanted to give the best offering to the Lord. And Raghav Pandit and his sister Damayanti, every year, they would cook hundreds of preparations for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And as they would be cooking for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, their entire consciousness was focused on how Mahaprabhu would be pleased by that offering. What are the ingredients that Mahaprabhu likes? What does he not like? Every aspect was thoroughly taken into consideration as those preparations were being made. And it's Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami describes that when they would cook, Lakshmiji herself, Srimati Radharani herself would come and cook in that kitchen. So when they would finish preparing all these hundreds of items, then each item they would pack. Now, of course, there may be so many packing machines and this and that, but those days, no machines. Everything hand-packed. And then few items in bigger packs, they would pack them together, and all these items in 2 huge bags they would pack. And 10 men would carry all these bags from Bengal to Jagannath Puri. They would go walking. And when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would receive these items, Mahaprabhu would tell his servant Govinda, keep them in a separate room. And Mahaprabhu would continue to eat these items for 1 full year. Why? Because he loved them so much. And why did he love them so much? Because they were prepared with so much of love. So, that is what Krishna is looking for. Krishna is looking for love. And that is what Krishna says again in the 9th chapter, 26th verse of the Gita. What is that famous verse? Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti uparatam ashnami prayatmanaha. So Krishna is not hungry for those items. Krishna has so many people to cook for him. But what does Krishna want? He wants that love. He wants the devotion. That is what he's looking for. So, when we talk of responsibility, responsibility is an exhibition of one's love. So when, just like a mother has love for the child, therefore she performs her service with great responsibility. And so anyone who has love towards their subordinates, towards their dependents, has love towards the spiritual master, towards the Supreme Lord, then they render that service with love, with responsibility. And so therefore, this is an integral part of the Vedic system, of the Varnashram system. The Lord has given responsibilities for everyone, and when one performs those duties, those responsibilities with great care, then Krishna also reciprocates with those who render those services with great responsibility. And therefore, in the practices of bhakti, our ultimate goal, as the Srimad Bhagavatam says, Atapombe Dvijashreshta Varnashrama Vibhagasha Swanishtitasya Dharmasya Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. The purpose of all Varnas and Ashramas is ultimately to please the Supreme Lord. And therefore all duties have been given by the Supreme Lord, and when one performs duties with that consciousness to please the Supreme Lord, then the Supreme Lord is pleased, and then the Supreme Lord reciprocates in all the wonderful ways that he has spoken of in the Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, what is very important is, first of all, to understand what are our responsibilities. If we don't know what are our responsibilities, then how can we execute the responsibilities? So the first thing is to understand what are our responsibilities. And those responsibilities have been very, very clearly explained in the scriptures. So both conditional duties, that is the duties according to Varna. Of course, one may say in the present age, one does not know what is one's Varna, who is Brahmana, who is Kshatriya, all that one may not understand. But whatever be one's means of livelihood, what has been ordained and what has been sanctioned by the spiritual authorities, those duties one needs to perform with great attention. And also, most importantly, we have our spiritual duties. And those spiritual duties also definitely have to be performed in a way that will please Guru and Krishna. So when we perform the activity in a way that will please Guru and Krishna, when Guru and Krishna are pleased, then the blessings automatically come. Without an asking, the blessings come. And when the blessings come, then one gets empowered. One gets empowered to perform devotional service in such amazing ways by which we ourselves can make wonderful progress in devotional service, and we can help so many others to also become attracted to devotional service and make progress. So we find that the Lord himself here is instructing Prithu Maharaj on how duties and responsibilities need to be performed. And because, taking Prithu Maharaj as an example, because he was performing his duties with so much of responsibility, and his goal was simply to please the Supreme Lord. And therefore, you may have heard of this pastime of how when Prithu Maharaj was performing the 100th horse sacrifice, then Indra was coming, he was stealing the horse, he was creating impediments, and he was taking the role of so many bogus sannyasis, introducing some false religious systems. So seeing all this happening, Brahmaji comes there and he tells Prithu Maharaj, stop performing this 100th horse sacrifice. Give up this attempt. Now just imagine, this is Ashwamedh sacrifice. It is not some one small yajna in one house or something. This is Ashwamedh sacrifice. So much of expenditure, so much of endeavor, so much of efforts. And Brahmaji comes and coolly says, stop it. Now Prithu Maharaj had every reason to argue. Why are you telling me? You tell Indra not to do this mischief. He could have argued. But Prithu Maharaj doesn't do that. Brahmaji comes, gives instruction. Prithu Maharaj understands Brahmaji is representative of the Supreme Lord. He understands that this is the desire of the Supreme Lord. And therefore, without a single word, without a single question, he stops the performance of the 100th horse sacrifice. And because he stops the performance of the 100th horse sacrifice in accordance to Brahmaji's instruction, what was the result? Lord was so pleased that the Lord himself appeared in the sacrificial arena of Prithu Maharaj. So what else is required? The Lord himself appeared. The Lord himself glorified Prithu Maharaj. The Lord himself said, I am captivated by the wonderful qualities that you have exhibited. In this way, Prithu Maharaj perfectly pleased the Supreme Lord by his sacrifice, by his sacrificing the sacrifice, in accordance to the instruction of his superiors, just to please them. So in this way, this is what is the goal of all our duties, whether they are so-called material duties. For a devotee, there is nothing material. Ultimately, even maintenance of the body, maintenance of the subordinates, dependents, everything is spiritual, because ultimately everything and everyone is connected to Krishna. So therefore, when one performs those duties very wonderfully with the goal to please the Supreme Lord, keeping that in mind, if one performs the duties, then the Lord is pleased, and when the Lord is pleased, then everything that is necessary for one's progress in devotional service is wonderfully provided by the Supreme Lord. So, from the scriptures, we understand this very, very important duty that one has to perform in regards to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, trying to please Him. That is one of the most important duties that we need to perform. And Srila Prabhupada has very wonderfully taught us how, even as we are performing all our other responsibilities as grihasthas, as householders, we can also perform our spiritual duties. Srila Prabhupada in the purports to the Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter, verses 8 to 12, Srila Prabhupada says, as householders, if one performs 4 activities, then one can live very happily. Anybody remembers 4 activities? Common activities which we do. Of course, in one sense it's correct.
Eating.
Srila Prabhupada says if one performs 4 activities in Grihastha life, one can live very peacefully. There's no need of taking sannyas also. Okay. Okay, these 4 activities which Srila Prabhupada says are chanting the holy names of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Second thing is studying Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, deity worship, and honoring only Krishna Prasadam. So Srila Prabhupada says if one simply performs these 4 activities in household life, then one can live a very happy life. So in this way, Srila Prabhupada has given us a very practical lifestyle by which we may be situated, we may have to perform so many other duties, but along with that, if we simply perform these spiritual duties, then Srila Prabhupada and the Acharyas will definitely be pleased, and by that we can make quick spiritual progress and achieve the ultimate goal of human life. So we definitely have our responsibilities to perform as per scripture. When we perform those responsibilities, then we become entitled to the rewards. And the ultimate reward is, as Krishna says, Manmana bhav madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru
Mame
vaisya satyam te pratijani priyosime. So if one performs these activities, becomes a devotee of Krishna, then Krishna is giving assurance that one will definitely go back home, back to Godhead. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Let us thank Vamsivardhan Prabhu with 3 loud.
Haribol, Haribol, Haribol.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. In his busy schedule, Prabhuji was actually in Bombay. Prabhuji base is out of Pune, but he was in Bombay doing some other very important programs. Twice Prabhuji told that he can't make it, but somehow we were like, please Prabhuji, please. Prabhuji really made it. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Your association means us a lot. Thank you. So now, as we all are there in this festival, our mind keeps telling sometimes, oh, there are so many lectures, there is so much to hear, will I remember? How can I remember? How much can I, listen to? But understand one thing, that here we are purifying our consciousness. Once I asked His Holiness Niranjan Swami Maharaj, he was there in Boston many years back, and I was sitting in, I was very new at that time. Now also I feel I'm new, but then I was really new. So I asked Maharaj, so many bad thoughts keep coming to the mind all the time. very little Krishna conscious thought come. How can I increase this? How can I deal with this? Does anyone have a similar question here? Yeah. So then Maharaj told a very simple answer, which even a first KG class, first class child also can understand. He said, you have 1 million cells in your head right now. Maybe only 10 cells are Krishna conscious. So just keep attending these lectures again and again and again, more and more. So each lecture, one cell will become Krishna conscious. He said, okay, Maharaj. So it's not about how much time we are spending. Will we remember all this? Don't try to see that way. Try to understand what is coming into us and how it is cleansing us. The whole life is about cleansing, right? The whole existence, this human birth we have taken, is to cleanse. Before the sadhus came here, demigods cleansed the entire city. Yesterday it was pouring in raining. So, there you go. So we're so fortunate that they are giving their time here, and they are coming all the way. Not that they don't have an audience. Prabhupada has given so much audience and so much responsibilities, but coming from a different city, sacrificing their time, effort, and traveling is the most tiresome activity. Nobody likes to travel. But they're coming early in the morning, coming here and giving their time. Really, it's our fortune. So please stay attentive and please let us sincerely learn this time that we are investing to hear. So next speaker is His Grace Atmaram Gaurang Prabhu. 1 second, I just kept his introduction here handy. So may I welcome Atmaram Gaurang Prabhu. Three Lord Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Please settle down. Can someone help connect the HDMI? I'll just read the introduction of Prabhuji. So Prabhuji did BTech from Kurukshetra University, MBA from Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, IIFT, and also his PhD from IIFT New Delhi. Now, really, this when I came to ISKCON, I'm like humbled. How many felt humbled hearing this? I know the material ego gets humbled. Yeah, Prabhuji has been working with TCS since 2008, and currently Prabhuji heads the strategic initiatives and marketing function in one of the biggest businesses units of TCS. Prabhuji came to Krishna consciousness after reading Bhagavad Gita in 2005. Prabhuji is married to a devotee from Belgaum in 2009, Leela Radhika Mataji. Next time we should ask Prabhuji to bring her here. Very good. And Prabhuji is blessed with 2 beautiful children, Chaitanya and Yaduvar, I'm sorry. Prabhuji's wife has a service as a science teacher in BMS. BMS is for Acha, Bhaktivedanta Model School. Everything Bhakti is connected. Yeah. In a devotee community school in Pune. Yeah. Services rendered, youth preaching and congregational preaching, they're totally involved. And currently serving as congregational counselor in Pune. And Prabhuji is a regular preacher in IIT Powai, Tolani Maritime Institute. So, and much more. If I remember, Prabhuji was the first teacher in our Bhakti Shastri, right? After the introduction class by Vamsivardhan Prabhu, and Prabhuji came and in our satsang, most of us are grahasthas, and I'm the last example you want to look at. But when Prabhuji gave a class, everybody was like, oh, such a grave grahastha, isn't it? It was really, and Prabhuji only did 4 verses in Nectar of Instruction, and the 4 verses were almost like entire, a mountain of studying, the way Prabhuji went through, and how much Prabhuji insisted on atonement, at least for me. I'm meant to be atonement, but somehow it is still in the process. So, very eager to hear Prabhuji's class and personally Prabhuji's presence here. So let's once again welcome him with loudest Hari Bol. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Thank you very much.
first of all, I'm very humbled to participate in this whole festival of inspiration. And motivation for me was to actually meet all of you, because I could never witness consistently such a sincere group of devotees online. I mean, if you are sincere online, then I was just wanted to see offline. Because 3 days a week doing Bhakti Shastri, 2 hours a day, I can understand. No, I am also working. I gave 4 classes, 5, whatever classes I went to, but you all attended for 1 year, so my humble obeisances to all of you for showcasing such a great example of being a good student. So thank you so much, and that was my motivation to come and meet all of you, and especially take association of Leelanand Prabhu, because what I speak here is him actually. So preaching his essence, he's manifesting this wonderful quality. So thank you so much, and I am very happy, honored to be here. And I made a PPT. I thought that it will also, you'll have something else to look at apart from my face, so that you'll not get bored. I think we are done Kirtan, so we'll just quickly start with prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachaya Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Jai Advaita Shivasati Gaura Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamam vande shubhadam paramam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. So now that Bhakti Shastri is over, what next? Not another, definitely another course. But Krishna consciousness is very interesting. You read and you hear, study, and then teach, share with others. What an amazing process, So it's so interesting. So the next step, I thought I'll pick up this topic, that now that Bhakti Shastri is completed, all set, with all the scriptural, all the shlokas also ready. So, all set to go ahead and share Krishna consciousness with others. So that's why I thought we'll take this topic, preaching in the sense. Is that okay?
Yes,
How
yes.
many of you have heard this phrase, preaching is the essence? Where does this phrase come? Prabhupada states. Preaching is the essence. Books are the basis. And purity is the force, and utility is the principle. So these are the 4 things which Prabhupada told. So preaching is the essence. Now, I'm sure that all of you must be like, there are 2 classes of people in this world, those who cook and the others those who eat. Right? So there are some people who cook and there are some people who eat. Okay. So when we do cooking and eating, we come across these essence, different kind of essence, right? Vanilla essence, E-essence, O-essence. So when we say essence, essence of what? Preaching is the essence of what?
Essence of knowledge.
Essence of scriptures, essence of knowledge. Okay? Essence of bhakti.
Essence of compassion.
Essence of?
Compassion.
Essence of compassion. Okay. Essence of Krishna consciousness. See, Krishna consciousness itself is an essence of Vedas, and of that also there is an essence of preaching. And then within essence of preaching there is no Bhagavad Gita and preaching, the Bhakti Shastri. So essence of essence of essence. So many essences.
Prasadam.
Prasadam. So essence of what? Essence of devotional life. Puran ache ja, say hedu prachar. One who is having life will preach. So in essence, it is the essence of devotional life, not life. Because life may just go on and on and on. But if there is devotional life, the symptom of that is there is some preaching happening. Okay. Familiar with this word preaching, right? All. So
Still, Prabhuji.
huh?
Still one time. What is preaching, Prabhuji?
Preaching means essentially sharing with others how to serve Krishna. That is preaching. So we serve Krishna and we share with others how to serve Krishna. Why? मेरा वाट लगा है सबका लगे. Obviously, we want to share the panakia of in this whole thing. We want to share something, an oasis kind of thing in the desert of the world. That's what we want to share. Okay. So it is the essence of devotional life. What else? It is the essence of a devotional community. Either a group of devotees. No, when we come together, let's say, if we are preaching, then we have so much to talk. अरे मैं वहाँ गया, वहाँ पे ये हुआ, इसने ये लिया, उसने वो लिया, अरे उन्होंने ऐसे बाहर निकाल दिया, ये करा, वो करा. So much to talk, right? But if there is no preaching happening, then what will happen? ये माता ने वो किया, वो प्रभु जी ने ये किया, उसने ये किया, उसने वो किया, उसने. So, in a devotional community, there will not be any stinking feeling coming if we are preaching. If the community is engaged in preaching. Okay. Each one does its bit. That is preaching. Okay. We'll come to that later. So it is essence of devotional community. Not just devotional community. It is essence of, devotional
Organization.
Organization. Not organization. You saw everything. I don't know. Prabhupada used to say ISKCON. That's what actually he made this point. Preaching is the essence of our. So it's the essence of ISKCON. As long as there is preaching happening, the organization is gonna expand like anything. We should not get worried. Like no, we all are working, right? I'm also working. All of you are working. If every member, if every department, if every unit is doing its job, the company automatically grows, And in one sense, if you see any organization, which is the most important component? What's the most important component of any organization?
It's a team.
Huh? Learning for what? Profits. How does profit come? Sales. That's why I moved into sales. This is my previous introduction. Now I'm currently in sales actually. Any organization, sales is most important. And here the sales is Surabhi Kundate Namahatta Khuleche. So Nityanand Prabhu's divine organization. And what is getting sold in this sale, in this market? Holy name. It's getting sold, There are so many customers who are pandemic, not pandemic, Just the market is just, addressable market is unlimited, Unlimited. Only we are limited. Market is unlimited for this, right? So devotional organization, it's the essence of devotional organization. And devotional movement. See, organization came, Srila Prabhupada, when he established this organization. Before that, nothing was there. No Prabhupada. But what is this organization part of? Prabhupada used to say that ISKCON is one of the branches of Lord Chaitanya's tree. It is one of the branches of Lord Chaitanya tree. Organization is still restricted in a time horizon, maybe, but movement is never restricted. Movement is beyond organization. So that's why preaching is the essence of devotional. That's what Lord Chaitanya came. In Adi Leela, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I am alone and feeling incapable of distributing this fruits which I have got to everyone. So please help me. What a mood of a leader, to inspire the followers. I mean, he's most, what else, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by his will everything can happen. But he's inspiring, empowering everyone that please come and help me. So that is Lord Chaitanya's movement. It started with Lord Chaitanya. So this is the essence of Lord Chaitanya's movement. Lord Chaitanya himself told that this is fruits of love of Godhead I have got, and this has to be distributed far and wide. So therefore preaching is the essence of a movement. And lastly, preaching is also the essence of, what is this devotional world? Spiritual world. Where we, now you may ask, what spiritual world में क्या preaching हो रही है? Preaching हो रही है spiritual world में? कोई ज़रूरत है preaching की? नहीं है ना? वहाँ तो क्या preaching है? There is no preaching needed. Everybody is a devotee only. Then why we say preaching is the essence of spiritual world also?
Because they are talking about Krishna.
That's the point.
That is one. They are always constantly talking about Krishna. But there is one more deeper aspect to it also.
We make this world, we make this material world to spiritual.
Yes, okay. But still, if you talk just of spiritual world, why do we say preaching is the essence of spiritual world? Glorification of Krishna, okay. So who are the most principal deities of spiritual world? Radharani, Krishna, right? So they are love, okay. And when, let's say, how is the love of parents, it gets manifested in the compassion for the kids. When parents are together, they always think about the kids, right? And that's why Lord Chaitanya was very compassionate. Lord Chaitanya's movie is because Radha Krishna combined. So mother, father, the heart of Radharani is that everybody should come and enjoy this bliss of spiritual world, of serving Krishna. So it's actually, the compassion is the essence of spiritual world, and that is getting manifested in this preaching. So it's the essence of spiritual world also. So in essence, preaching is the essence in the devotion. Devotional life, devotional community, devotional movement, devotional, right? Some quotes by Srila Prabhupada. Can somebody read some of these quotes?
Let us do something.
There are many quotes actually, just picked a few. To confirm to what we are saying over here,
Let us do something which will bring a peaceful revolution to the whole human society.
Prabhupada is amazing, The way he uses apparently contradicting words together is just amazing. Peaceful revolution. So, generally revolutions are never peaceful. Whether it is French Revolution or this revolution or... But Prabhupada is saying peaceful revolution. What an amazing... And see, you have to... Prabhupada is the visionary, He is giving the vision to all of us to live our life, People struggle to get a mission in life, and vision. Prabhupada is giving such an amazing vision and mission to live, for us. So what an amazing, peaceful revolution. Because it is just peacefully happening. There is no marketing, there is no as if one is happening and 10 is getting broadcasted somewhere. Peacefully people are getting books. I mean, recently we started one program in Pune. There's a place called Sinhagad Road. In that we went to so one devotee got added in our group. So his building, almost 500 flats are there. So we thought we'll start a program there and we'll do book distribution. So every building had 108 flats. What an auspicious sign. 108, so 8. So we went building by building. So many flats already have Bhagavad Gita, and they showed also Bhagavad Gita. एक तो भागवतम ही लेके आ गए. Peaceful revolution. As soon as Prabhupada's books have landed in their homes, day and time will come when they will open it, and automatically Prabhupada will do his job. And I am myself a product of book distribution, so vouch for it, that Prabhupada will do his job. So peaceful revolution. Second,
as these boys are changing their habits and their ideas, so similarly it can be done for mass of people.
this is a big question for people, no? आप ये बोल रहे हो, लेकिन world outside is at a different pace, which is a reality. See, sometimes when we go and meet with our relatives, you know, or when we start trying to introduce Krishna consciousness to people who are outside, they're not immediately able to connect, you know, to the lifestyle or sometimes to the philosophy. They feel that no, it's right, but it's different from reality where we are living in. Now, actually, that's a reality, what they are saying, but the reality is also that if we introduce this chanting of the holy names in the lives of, automatically changes happen, which happened in all of our lives, right? Once my brother was telling that, no, when he's elder to me, so he was talking to one of his friends, and his friend told that no, when we were in college, we wanted to remain good, you know. Okay, हम अच्छा करेंगे सब कुछ. But when we entered into our mainstream life, so many events happened in our life, then we ended up doing something wrong, you know, getting into something wrong, maybe, you know, a wrong way of living life, or drugs, or whatever it is. So it's very difficult to retain goodness in this life. That was his realization. Because as you know, yes, it is true. Without Krishna consciousness, it's very difficult to retain goodness in our lives. And all of us probably, if they won't have been any Krishna consciousness, we would have been going down at a gliding pace. But it's just that bhakti has come. We may not have been like, you know, as soon as we are hearing Krishna's name, we are falling down, and all those things are not happening. But we are not going down, we are going up, and probably like, no, it's the trajectory is up. So which means it's working. Papa is saying that. All we have to do is, so instead of showing a to-be state, this is how you should be, this is how society should be, they cannot relate to it. Just you do whatever you want to do. Just take holy name. And slowly holy names and Prabhupada books will do so. Third.
In Kali Yuga, democratic government can be captured by Krishna conscious people. If this can be done, general populace can be made very happy.
Amazing, no? So all of us are so much suffering, no? And it's not impossible, you know. See, that's the beauty of our Srila Prabhupada. He never doubted this point that it cannot spread, you know, far and wide. He always had that faith. And first point and third point is very much related, you know. Peacefully everybody is accepting, and suddenly, you know, they would want that a Krishna conscious leader should pick up the reins of this world. It may happen in our lifetime, next lifetime, doesn't matter. I mean, not our next lifetime, but in our next generation maybe. we want to go back. But it's very much possible because the process works. Process is working. Okay. All we have to do is do our bit, and everything will happen. You know. Prabhupada makes this one. This is a big quote. I wanted to. Historians will study this period. You know. So he remarks to, I think, 1977, some May. Prabhupada makes this point to Rameshwar Maharaj, I think, that historians is going to study this period of, like, no, whenever probably Prabhupada appeared, to 100, 150 years, that how this movement actually has changed the course of the world. That's what Prabhupada is mentioning in this quote. So Prabhupada had that faith, you know. It's going to change. And all of us want to change, see that change, right? It's all possible by last point.
Complete overhauling of the whole social, political, religious, moral, educational and hygienic principles.
So the scale of Krishna consciousness is so huge, you know. Social, political, religious, moral, educational, hygienic also. No wonder, I mean, all of us have been hostels, most of us, right? We know how, to what extent we can go with hygiene, you know, not taking bath and all those things. So Prabhupada is saying at all levels, Krishna consciousness movement will overhaul the lives of people and lives of society. And that's what it has happened for us. So why it cannot happen for others? You know, I mean, how many of you from IT background? Hyderabad, sitting in Gachibowli, if I ask that question, it will be an offense to Gachibowli. No, when you do an innovation, there's something called POC. You do POC, right? Proof of concept, proof of concept. If the POC is successful, the pilot will be successful. If the pilot is successful, product will be successful. It's a process, So POC is already successful in our lives. It has succeeded. So the pilot will also succeed. The product will also succeed. Sharing with others. So we should not have any doubts. We should just continue. So with this, I thought acronyms, are quite easy to. So I made an acronym, of essence. It is not exhaustive. You may also have this. Just basis my understanding, whatever I've read and heard, I have captured it over here. But let's try to go through all these things. Why we should make preaching, or why and how to make preaching as the essential component of our life. E. What does E stand for? Can anybody say?
Essential for our sustenance.
Essential for our sustenance. Why preaching is essential for our sustenance? Can anybody please? Yeah.
It keeps us engaged in service.
Keeps us is a very wonderful way of engaging in service. Our mind, intelligence, everything is engaged. Full consciousness goes. If I am giving a class right now, my whole consciousness is here. Probably even sometimes chanting is not a job. We are this here and there. But preaching, when we are doing, we're speaking about Krishna. I'm not saying do it at the cost of chanting. That's not the recommendation. But the point is that this is a service which absorbs our complete consciousness. Right? It's so essential. Any other point? Essential and also
Constant reminder.
Sorry?
Constant reminder of.
Constant reminder. Teaching is the best way of learning. Yeah.
So the preacher learns the most. Because they study the most.
Yeah. If you have to preach, you will be forced to kind of read. Otherwise it may become a occasion. Once last 31st June, 30th June, whatever, I opened Srimad Bhagavatam. But if you're preaching, then obviously you'll open Bhagavad Gita. I know married life, how does it work? This call, and this, that job. Every day is a new day. Okay. So in all these new days, which will throw new challenges, if we are having that preaching link, it will force us to open proper books. हम दूसरों को बताएंगे तो खुद भी सोचेंगे अरे हाँ यार मेरे को भी तो ये करना है. Chant and be happy. So I also have to chant and be happy. Preaching automatically. It's a self-correcting mechanism.
It becomes obligatory on the preacher to correct himself.
Yes.
Best sadhana.
Yeah. Okay.
You also observe that it's a self-reiterating concept.
Self-reiterating. Something we keep on speaking, we also start conforming to it. Because body, mind and words, they should be aligned. When something becomes part of us, when body, mind, words are aligned. Body means physical actions. And then what is there in our mind and what we speak. So by preaching slowly, what happens is in the community of devotees, okay, body, mind and words, they start getting aligned. Prabhuji, आप बोल रहे थे ना? हाँ, ठीक है, करता भी हूँ. Body, mind and words getting aligned. This starts changing. It works. That's how it works. Okay. So it is not just any other point on this essential for our sustenance. Any other point? Yeah, Madhuri.
Prabhupada says in Srimad Bhagavatam about personal realization.
Yeah.
He says like till the time you don't understand what the acharyas say
Hmm.
and study well and scrutinize what you understand and keep, you're not going to. You have to be in line with what the acharyas say and also speak the same thing, but according to time, place, and
Circumstance. I'll come to that as a very important point. I'll come to this point on this last C, second last. Checks are standing and thinking. Okay, I'll come to that. That's a very good point. It is not just our sustenance, it is the sustenance of everyone, See, point is everybody should be happy, So, and usually think, मैं खुश हूँ तो यार ठीक है ना, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? I'm happy. But Vedic culture means mutual dependence. We are dependent on everybody. No, it's not that. See, there are two extremes to think. One is that I am absolutely isolated, The second is my happiness is absolutely dependent on others. It's a very too extreme way of thinking. The balance is the world we are living in should also be very good, you know. We have to make it a better place. We have to contribute as a, okay, be part of solution, not the part of problem. So it is actually, you are trying to become that. And when the world becomes a worse place, it becomes difficult to sustain. When world becomes a better place, it becomes easier to sustain. Essential for our sustenance is two meanings: our own spiritual life and spiritual lives of others. Depends on teaching. That's the E part. Anybody has any reflection on this? Anything? Okay. Move to the second one. Second is sublimates my life. Preaching, what it does? It sublimates my life. Because whatever it is, you know, I mean, there was once, I think it was Prakashanand Saraswati or Prabodhanand Saraswati. There is this verse which comes, and he says that the only scope for the fallen souls in this age is to share the holy names with the other fallen souls. What an amazing, you know, I was very, amazed to hear that and see that. It was in Mayapur I read that point. So, so you know, it sublimates our life very easily because we are trying to do something which Lord Chaitanya wants us to do. Okay, so it sublimates our life, and to the point which somebody made, if we are preaching, we are learning. You know, it gets reinforced even more, and then our changes happen quicker. Changes will take time, but it will start happening quicker. When we start preaching, start sharing whatever we know to the best of our capacity realization. I'll also talk about the level preach according to our level. The third, Leelanand Prabhu is a vivid example for that. When we preach and we try to bring others in Krishna consciousness, we stop thinking about our life. Usually, especially when we are married, kids, job and all, you don't get time to think about others. You don't care, you know. So absorbed into ourselves. The whole life is designed in such a way. We don't get time. But by preaching, we are also getting benefited, and we are coming over that consciousness, or kind of transcending that consciousness of being selfish or just thinking about ourselves. It's so miserable, you know. Just thinking about my maintenance, which is having no end. Is there an end to it? There's no end to it, and it's very irritating consciousness. Okay, so what Lord Chaitanya and Lord Prabhupada is giving us? An opportunity for us to transcend that selfish consciousness by giving us a way to share this Krishna consciousness with others and cultivate that consciousness of sacrifice, which is very important for us to go back to Godhead. Spiritual world is not a place of selfishness. कोई अपने बारे में नहीं सोच रहा है, तो औरों के बारे में सोच रहा है, भगवान के बारे में सोच रहा है. It's a very good way to start thinking about others' growth, others' problems. Peaceful life. When we start preaching, it happens, no, right? That we start becoming more sensitive to others' problems and helping them, and see that they accept Krishna consciousness and they are becoming happy. It gives so much joy. I mean, that joy is unparalleled. There's no comparison to that joy. When you see somebody burning and gets Krishna consciousness, starts to chanting the holy names, it looks like rain has fallen, like yesterday he was saying, rain. So much satisfaction they get. You know. That satisfaction of doing sacrifice and seeing happen. So S is sacrifice. It really helps us to cultivate that consciousness. Okay. The fourth is easy way. When we help others becoming Krishna conscious, our offenses to chanting the holy names are being erased because we are giving holy names to others. We are helping others becoming Krishna conscious, तो हमारा रास्ता थोड़ा साफ हो जाता है. नहीं तो हमारी वैसी बैंड बजी हुई है. No, when we come in Krishna consciousness, it looks like we are right there, you know. But when we start spending time, we understand, no, it's not. It's going to take time. But it becomes an easy journey because the offenses are being removed, because we are helping others. And needless to say, don't think that 10 offenses in the holy name वो मैं करता रहूंगा, मैं preaching कर लूंगा ना तो offense से चलेंगे. That is वो to commit sinful activities. No, that's not we are saying. Not that matter. But generally we commit because of the modes of nature we are in. We do have so many impediments mentally, which inhibits our progress. That is being taken care of. That's E. Any reflections till now? S, E, S, S, E. Anything anybody would want to say? Okay, absorbing. Fine. Bit of silence.
We become, sorry.
Yeah, please.
We become very conscious of our offenses also.
We become very conscious of our offenses. Absolutely. The fifth point is newness, recreation. The best way not to go back to Netflix, Amazon Prime, and so on and so forth is having some recreation in life. Everybody is looking for recreation, right? Preaching is a very good recreation. It's honestly is right. No, when we go, we give books, and we say we do a program, new people come. It's a recreation to see new people interacting and all those things. So it's a very nice recreation. Is it not?
That's the best part of the week.
Huh?
That's the best part of the week.
That's the best part of the week. So such a generally recreation in Kali Yuga is very degrading. If you have to recreate, then you have to go down only.
Recreation of newness.
So this is a recreation which picks us up. Very jolly, recreation, and also liberates us. Okay. So because it is new, because every time we are meeting new people, we are meeting new, so we get new experiences, new problems to hear, new things to hear. And we discover new ways how Krishna consciousness is solving problems in the lives of people. So newness, every time something new. So that recreates, it's a recreation. The fifth point is very important. Of course, all of them are. Sixth point. Checks our standing and thinking. We have a tendency, and this we borrow from our material life, we have a tendency to get stuck in our opinions. ऐसा ही है, यही ठीक है, क्योंकि मैं ऐसा बोल रहा हूँ. That's what I'm thinking. Therefore, it is the right thing. When we preach others, when we give Krishna consciousness to others, see, if it has to be effective, it has to be in line with acharyas. Otherwise, it will not be effective. It will not yield the purpose. So it has to be what Prabhupada wanted it to be. But at the same time, for it to manifest, we have to be innovative and relevant enough for people to accept it. So preaching brings that fine balance within us. That we are not in our own bubble of reality. At the same time, in order to become relevant, we are not just giving anything, just to get them. So we are giving what Prabhupada wanted, and at the same time, for it to be accepted, we have to literally see and be open-minded and open to hear. Not that because now I am a devotee, if you have this attitude, we see it's not working, Because I am a devotee, please hear. पहले तुम मेरे को सुनना है. मैं बताता हूँ. मैं सुन के आ चुका हूँ already. We have to hear. We have to hear their perspectives. We have to hear their point of views, what they are having. Then when we understand, then we express Krishna consciousness in a way which is relevant to them. So that is a very important part of our self-development. It checks our standing and thinking. It checks our standing and whether we're thinking right or wrong, whether our attitudes in Krishna consciousness are right or wrong. If we closely see Srila Prabhupada, his success, he was ready to innovate, He was ready to innovate and at the same time stick to the core. That was his wonderful balance he always managed to have. So ready to innovate and stick to the core. So as his followers, and it's a practice, as his followers, it's not that one fine day, 21st July 2023, I'll wake up with that balance. No, that will not happen. When we continue preaching and all, we slowly understand, okay, that's what it is. And this gives us more faith in our own process, what we are doing. Yeah, it is working. Right? So that's the C part of it. And the E is entrance to Lord Chaitanya's mind. Because of course we want, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has, there is a book of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. What is that book called? No.
Godruma.
Godrum Kalpatavi. Godrum Deep is where Surbi Kunj is there, And you know that bhajan is there, no? Surbi Kunja Te Naam. So Surbi Kunj is in Godrum. So there is a book called Godrum Kalpatavi. So in that Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes that, that it's like sales, again, this Naam Hatta, sales. You are selling and you get your commission. What is the commission? A preacher gets? Love of God. That's the commission. I share Krishna, Krishna gets, which is love of God. Okay. So this is the essence. We'll revise. E stands for essential for our sustenance. Our sustenance, and R means actually our whole planetary sustenance, not just my sustenance. Okay, my family, whole society, and so on. Second is sublimates my life. Third is sacrifice. Fourth is
Easy way.
it's an easy way. It frees us from offenses. Fifth is newness, recreation. Whatever we know, we give. It's not that because we are giving, we have become perfected. No. Just like a child, the Prabhupada used to give this example, right? Tube light. No, child may not know the mechanics of tube light, but because the father has told this is tube light, he says this is tube light, knowledge is perfect. But that doesn't mean since he has told this is tube light, he will stop learning. So his learning continues and his sharing also continues, right? So these two things need to continue and parallelly move. Okay. With this newness, right? Recreation. Sixth, check start standing and thinking. I'll keep some time for interaction, therefore I'm just wrapping it up a bit quick because I want to have more interaction. And sixth is entrance to Lord Chaitanya's mercy. Very easy. A very easy way. Oh, he has made it. Okay. Selected. Very easy. Okay. But in all this, please remember the
Balance.
What was the 7 pillars we discussed in NOI? 7 pillars of balance. For Grahastha specifically, it's very important, Abhi after hearing this class, let's say you leave everything and go preaching hi karni hai sir. So there were 7 pillars of balance we discussed, right? Of which, of course, preaching is one of the parts. Because for the Grahastha, the secret to success is
Family.
balance, not family. It is also chanting, it is also preaching, it is also family, it is also everything. It is balance. So there are 7 pillars of balance in Grahastha. Sadhana, number 1. So we all have tough time in doing our sadhana. So coming as much as possible in the association of devotees to chant, and as much as possible trying to chant in morning. Because evening chanting all of us know. I don't have to tell you how it goes, right? So sadhana. Second is association. If you think I'm going to sustain alone, even drunkards don't sustain alone. To talk of devotees. For to remain a successful drunkard, you have to regularly come in association. To remain a devotee, obviously we have to, right? We have to keep coming in association. So whatever our time allows, once a month, once a week, twice a week, more, as much as possible. But there has to be some defined frequency, not once a year for sure. It has to be some regular, quick sort of chosen frequency to come in association. And association also means making friends. Okay, making friends. So we have to have some groups like I do reading with one of my friends, because for me reading alone becomes very difficult, right? I mean all of us know. I mean especially for me, I can tell, because no office, this, that, so many things. After that, getting time out for reading alone becomes very difficult. So one partner we choose, और उसके साथ मिलके reading किया. So association also means that, no? Having friends in our community. Not everyone our wavelengths will match. That is also going to happen. It's not that so you are devotee, I am devotee, it should match. No, it's not like that. It's not gonna match. No? I mean, Yashoda Maiya, Gopis, it's a separate group. You know, Gopal, separate group. They have their own ways to hang around with. So we'll always have different devotees. We'll hang around with. That's fine. Okay. So that's association. Third part is sadhana, association. Third is hearing. Hearing is very important. So once there was a very senior devotee who came and met Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj, and almost 25 years in Krishna consciousness. He was saying that there's no enthusiasm in Krishna consciousness. So Maharaj took 2 fingers and ऐसे बोला कान बंद करने को, बोला hearing is not happening. So we have to hear regularly. Like Bhakti Shastri is a very good way, and later on you can also do. Now the online world, there are so many courses which is on desire, wherever it is. We can pick up something, keep studying, keep hearing proper lectures and all, whatever. We should keep hearing. Sadhana, association, hearing. Fourth, reading is sort of covered in sadhana. Sadhana, association, hearing, preaching. Is a fourth thing. Preaching and services. So there are 3 levels of preaching also. We may not have time and literally this thing. So supporting preaching projects. But somewhere that missionary spirit has to be there within us. It's not that we are insensitive to that missionary spirit. No. That feeling and that good feeling for the mission has to be there. If I am not able to do full time, or if I am not able to dedicate myself fully, or whatever time I have to do, then supporting something, okay. But that component has to be there, okay. So in form of different services, or actually actively preaching is the 4th pillar. 5th, because preaching services is sort of covered. 5th is relationship between husband, wife, kids. एक बहुत बड़ा फील होता है. So everything is going fine, but if the husband-wife relationship is not going great for a long period of time, it drains our energy, okay, or with kids, whatever it is, okay. Is that okay? So the 5th point is relationships. We should have good relationships. Actually, Bhakti Yoga or Bhagavad Gita covers everything, It covers the science of relationships also. We can build very good relationships just because what is expected in a good relationship? Not take egoistic clashes seriously. Very seriously.
Loving exchanges.
Huh?
Loving exchanges. Exchanges means loving exchanges.
Yeah, I mean, when in the exchanges there are egoistic clashes, don't take it very seriously. Move on.
Forgive and forget.
Forget. So this is what Bhagavad Gita teaches in Nishkam Karma Yoga. Focus on something higher. Move on. So actually Bhagavad Gita is a very full end-to-end coverage. It is not just giving some only, but it is giving everything to us. Okay. So relationships means having friendly relation, having nice relationships, not bringing too much ego inside and all. And obviously relationships will be good. If relationships are good, we are happy. If we are happy, then we chant nicely, we read nicely, we hear nicely. Otherwise, even while chanting, we keep cursing each other. मेरा जीवन खराब हो गया, मेरा जीवन बेटर होता. अच्छा वही पढ़ा था मैंने भागवतम में. पर वो मतलब नहीं है. भागवतम में और भी कुछ लिखा है. भागवतम भगवद गीता के बाद शुरू होती है. So we don't have to give up or think of so But when we have good relationships, automatically, we don't think this person is bad. This relationship good, automatically our perspective changes. So we are better off when relationships are good. And if we take responsibility in our hands of making the relationship good, chances our relationship will become better. If we put the responsibility in other person's court, chances our relationship will go down. Because everybody thinks like that only. It's the responsibility. Mr. Prabhuji was talking about rights and responsibility. People think responsibility theory, right, Mira? Ping pong, ping pong. But point is, if we take responsibility, we can get the right also easily. Okay. So this is the fifth very important. Sixth is, of course, job, finance, and all those things come as a 6 point. That was our 6 point. Sixth pillar. So we should have a stable situation. In an unstable situation, unless we are at the level of Tukaram Maharaj, we cannot. So Tukaram Maharaj की मूवी देखिए ना, सारा गेहूं ऐसे बांट दिया. तो हम लोग का वो लेवल नहीं है, मेरा तो नहीं है, आप हो सकता है. But generally, we have to be kind of stabilized in our situation. Of course, stability has no end to it, you know. I mean, to the nth point, if we want to be stable, then we can spend all the effort. मतलब ये चद्दर का है, इसमें सिल्वर नहीं होना चाहिए. मतलब to that point we can go. The point is, broadly we should be stable in our lives. Okay? Broadly we should go by a plan. Of course, in discussion and all those things, when we are especially new, how to manage that part of not being too neglectful or not being too much into it. Okay? So that balance has to be struck so that we are steadily growing, you know. Not hyper growth may lead to some issues. Degrowth will also lead to issues. Sustainably growing. So that's the key point. That's goodness. That's mode of goodness. So Bhagavad Gita or Shastras don't want us to, sorry Prabhuji. Bhagavad Gita or Shastras don't want us to become impractical. Okay. They give us the full this thing, but they want us to be balanced. They want us to be balanced. So this was 6 point. Now was the 7th pillar. बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट चीज लेसन अभी मिला हमें 2 साल कोविड के दौरान. हेल्थ is a very big factor also. Sometimes everything goes well, health goes down. Everything is being served. Okay, so because of our lifestyle and all those things, sitting in one place, we need to, in our own regime, we need to find the ways by which our health is okay, good, continuing well. Okay, so that is the 7th pillar of the balance of life. So none of these pillars have to be neglected. Disbalance or imbalance happens when any one of these pillars are neglected for a long period of time. Then what will happen? Imbalance is going to happen. ये नहीं कि मैं ये छोड़ देता हूँ ना क्योंकि मैं कर रहा हूँ भगवान का ही रूल है. Balance is the rule of Lord. That's the rule of Lord only. So we can't say for devotion of Lord, I'll break the law of the Lord. We can't say that. So from our side, in the dynamic world, we have to give our best to ensure that this is being done. And then when we do this, our preaching also becomes meaningful. Because what we are offering to the world is not something impractical. We are offering an addition, a value addition in their lives. A very good value addition in the way they are living lives. So then it will obviously become very good. So I think that's about it. Keeping 7-8 minutes for any clarification. I thought I'll just keep little last portion from Grahastha perspective because so that's the USP I get to the table in this lot. Yeah. Any questions? Anything?
Just by way of Bhagavad Gita last verses, preaching improves our spiritual quotient also.
Very much. Vice versa. If your spiritual quotient is higher, preaching improves. Preaching, because when we are preaching, we preach to ourselves first of all. So then obviously we start thinking, our spiritual growth.
He become dear to the Lord also. That's what he said.
Yes, yes. Entrance to Lord Chaitanya. Any other question? Yeah.
Many scriptures talk about 24/7 bhajana. Now they almost every scripture goes there to 24/7 bhajana. And as Grihasthas, we have many responsibilities and then balance all these aspects. How do we correlate these two aspects and understand?
Wonderful thing. Krishna and Uddhav were discussing. Okay. And this is being told to me by Janani Ashram. So once Uddhav and Krishna were having discussion, and Uddhav asked Lord Krishna, who is going back to Godhead? Krishna told, all my devotees are going back to Godhead. Achha, even Grihasthas? Uddhav ne question. So then Krishna told, yes, why not? They are also coming back to Godhead. But they are not 24/7 engaged. What I see is, after doing their duties, whatever balance time they get, they are offering it to me. So honestly, after doing all their duties, they are offering their balance time to me. I take it, consider it as the time, because somebody has complete free time, he offers his complete free time. So after doing your duty, whatever is the free time, offers it to Krishna. That is how Krishna equates both the things.
During this COVID time,
Yeah.
we have learned to do many things online. So, like we have reading sessions also. I have 3 reading sessions.
Yeah.
Is that equal to association?
Yes, yes, why not?
Does it give the same than your personal association?
No, physical association is, see, okay, when, let's say, I don't know what are those reading sessions all about. If it's about personal reading,
No, about scriptural.
no, scriptural reading only, but are you reading with some new group of devotees or how it is there?
So, it's not...
Or you are reading with your peers some Bhagavad Gita about. Obviously that works, because it's not possible for you to come always together, right? So I mean, we do our Bhagavatam reading online only. So that's one good thing which has happened due to Zoom. We discovered that as well, because if I have to come, because reading has to happen daily, right? And daily from your duties you can't come to each other's homes. पहले उसमें आधा घंटा में हम लोग तैयार होंगे, फिर जाएंगे, फिर आएंगे, तो उसी में ही सब कुछ खत्म हो जाएगा. Everything will be gone. It will not sustain. So Zoom that way has been a very good blessing. So we can do daily reading on Zoom and all.
Actually, it has fast-tracked everything.
It is fast-tracked everything. My wife is on 10th canto, completing almost with our group. So she started on what 3rd canto in COVID till 10th canto. हम वही 8th canto पे गिर के पहुंचे हम लोग अभी. उनका आगे चली गई गाड़ी. वो रोज 1 घंटा कर पाते हैं. That helps you know because it's very convenient. So obviously you're reading proper books.
And earlier also, Bhakti Shastri was actually a physical course you had to attend those.
That is always physical is better, because you know something which is when you come in association, that different churning happens. So when you are doing a very regular routine things, you can do it in that mode. But when there is something like a deep down study, discussions and all those things, it definitely, that was a makeshift arrangement. We should not bring it from, like many companies are now thinking, no, why work from home, work from office. अभी सारे एम्प्लॉयज कह रहे हैं हम आना ही नहीं हमको, कहते हैं कुछ कामों के लिए तो आने पड़ते हैं, नहीं हम नहीं आएंगे जाओ. लोग ज़्यादा कंपनी बोलते हैं नोटिस पीरियड में भी वर्क फ्रॉम होम करना है क्या, वर्क फ्रॉम ऑफिस करना है. So there are some things in life which are better done physically together. There are some things in life which actually were, you know, taking unnecessary corners. You can cut the corners from online. So the routine concept.
For what kind of activities it is preferred to travel?
Physical means if you're preaching a new group, or if you're coming regularly for all this Bhagavatam association, or for Bhakti Shastri, which is not happening on a daily basis, a routine thing, right? It is, I mean, you know, routine, let's say if you're staying near to the temple, it's always good to come to chant in the morning and all. But you know, in the thick of the day and so many things are there, so then we can shift some of the routine activities. We can actually like choose. See, always preferred on physical, but in order to cut the corners and make it sustainable, we can always choose to shift some activities on. I mean, daily reading is one of them, is what I feel.
One more question, sorry.
Yeah.
On balance.
Yeah.
Where a family, in a family where like there's only one devotee but rest are non-devotees, what exactly you should do so that the others are not annoyed by you, and how exactly you should go about things and still continue to do that?
That's a tough question, it's a tough thing. And one has to go very sensitive. And of course, one cannot at least externally manifest all devotional activities the way a full devotional family is able to do. And one should be okay with it. It's not that Krishna is getting less pleased by that. Krishna is equally just same point. See, Krishna is not concerned. Krishna, he sees whatever best I can do in my situation, he sees that one. So in all this, you have to persevere in the sense that in a very nice way, giving them prasad or whatever like this, and gently pushing people, not like Mukkanimana, gently kind of pushing towards, introducing them to other devotees, thoughtfully, which kind of association will make sense to them. Then it will happen. Probably it will, if they take it from you, they will not take it. If they take it from others, they will take it.
If they are totally like
Against.
no.
So then better not bother. As long as they are not bothering you.
At least,
You then protect yourself first. We are open, then you go ahead, right? ऐसा नहीं हो कि उनको आप ही का ही वो हो जाए. I mean, in the sense, the devotee who is pushing, he should not get. Everybody has, after all, their own rights, and despite telling all these things, Krishna told Arjuna that now tell what you want to do. So, and Krishna is giving that right to Arjuna. What can we do? Yeah?
For all.
For all, actually for all. It's good for us. We have to understand it is good for us. Doesn't mean that Krishna is giving an option, actually all the other options are equal. No, this option is the best. But the point is that somebody may not able to appreciate it that much, at least at this point of time. So we leave it. Take time. Okay, thank you, Roji. Thank you so much, and it was really a pleasure to interact with all of you. I tried to keep it interactive, and so please forgive for any offenses or anything which I stated which is not this thing. So thank you all so much. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Let us thank Guruji with 3 loud.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
We just want to continue hearing this and shouldn't stop ever. But we have this back-to-back schedule, right? The toughest service in this whole service is to ring that bell saying, so time is up. Because we don't want the speaker to stop, yet you want the speaker to, give the chance for the next one. So, before we disperse for the lunch prashadam, there are some special guests here. Am I audible? Yeah. So, Her Grace Champakalata Mataji, can please get up once. Let's welcome our
Hari Bol.
Mataji is a disciple of His Holiness Bhakti Raghav Swami Maharaj and very, very inspiring devotee in the circle of inspiration. Mataji has herself, inspired blind children to read Bhagavad Gita.
Hari Bol.
Mother of 2 children grown up and whole family. How many of you remember listening to Mataji in our satsang? Yeah? Yes, Mataji came once. It was such an inspiring session, and Mataji also gave similar session in another group of leaders. Just that how much simple, Mataji from a household background can still make a difference is that today Bhagavad Gita is being printed in a language that all the blind children in the world can read. the entire Bhagavad Gita by touching it. Chapter by chapter. And that's not only for blind people, it's also for us who are blind. You know, even if we become blind, Mataji is not going to leave us. Yes, thank you, Mataji. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Really appreciate you coming. And I also have my senior God brothers and inspiring leaders here. Mohan Krishna Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. And Darshak Prabhu is here, Hare Krishna. And Madan Kumar Prabhu. Yeah, I was just here. Prabhuji is preaching, he's a Grahastha, he's preaching for the last more than 20 years, you know. So Prabhuji is just here. And we also have Nirendra Prabhu here, Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. So Prabhuji preaches in the Nalagandla area. Yeah, Prabhuji preaches in Nalagandla area. If you have any friends there, you can refer to Prabhuji. So there are sessions going on in all over the place. Preaching is the essence. And we all, as Prabhuji said, if we want to recreate, then Maya will recreate us here again. So better not recreate other things, better to recreate serving Krishna. So without any more delay, my humble request to everyone is please keep your prasadam plates a little careful, because we are going to have continuous sessions here only. We are going to have prasadam here only. So there will be back to back. So if anything falls or spills over, then cleaning will be a little activity that we'll try to avoid. It's okay if it happens. So Mahaprasade Govinde, Nama Brahmane Vaishnave, Swalpa Punya Vratan Rajan,
Salpa Punyam Vatam Rajan,
Viswaso Nevajayate.